All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are casting the IEM Katowice round of 8. This is the quarterfinals match. So it is a best of 5 here. Players fighting for the difference between, is it like 20,000 and 40,000 or 40,000 like 70,000? I know, some crazy amount of prize money just for going to the semis over this top 8. Down in the bottom right side, we've got Dark, one of the most aggressive and explosive Korean Zergs in the world. Does mistime his drone going to the gold slightly. His opponent in the top left. This is REYNOR. Now, I know a lot of people say REYNOR. REYNOR. People make fun of me. They're like, REYNOR. What do you mean to REYNOR? REYNOR, the reigning world champion, was coming in to defend his title from the previous year. And honestly, multitasking-wise, mechanics-wise, he's one of the scariest players in the world. Now, this, for me, is REYNOR's dream, right? REYNOR's dream is... And now I'm going to mind game myself and keep saying it both ways. And I'm going to keep calling him REYNOR. Because it's spelt REYNOR, right? Maybe if it was spelt the other way, I'd say Reynor. But, you know, I'm going with the spelling. What can I say? Anyways, it's the same way I call ZvZ. And people are like, it's meant to be like Cypher. It's from Final Fantasy. And I'm like, yeah, well, maybe you should spell your name fucking correctly then, shouldn't you? Same treatment I give to Twitch chat as I give to pro gamers. Anyway, point being, guys, gold base versus gold base. Hatch first is insane. This is such a dangerous playstyle to be playing against REYNOR, because REYNOR is a beast of multitasking and of just handling chaotic situations. Now, Dark has still not pulled drones. He's pulling those way too late as well. Dark's opening way more loose than REYNOR's. You gotta remember, guys, I do think Dark and REYNOR are both cut of the same cloth. Both of these guys are incredibly mechanical, never say die players that just never give up. But REYNOR has the advantage of having Lambo as a good friend and coach. And it makes a massive difference because both of these guys are so chaotic in their mindset that they're very bad at refining their build orders on their own, in a vacuum. The problem with Dark is I get the impression that he doesn't actually have any other Zergs that he talks to enough, and because that is opening here, he's taken the hatch 4 seconds later, he's transferred his drones 10 seconds later. That does give REYNOR a little bit of an advantage. And these Lings going to be dancing around now. Ling speed on the way. Both players going for a Baneling nest. Now, the scary thing here, guys, is you're going to be able to run Banelings in their mineral line. They're going to be able to run Banelings in your mineral line. I do like Dark's Baneling nest positioning. Maybe a little more than REYNOR's. I mean, I guess REYNOR's defending the front. Dark's is defending the flank. He's fully walled off that left side of the mineral line. It does mean if Banelings come in this right side, there's nowhere for these drones to run to. So this Baneling nest could be a double-edged sword. REYNOR hiding Zerglings on the right side. Both players do drop a third hatchery, and they've both gone to 25 drones? So I really thought one of them would be a bit more aggressive than this, but apparently they're confident just having enough Zerglings to morph into Banelings really early. And saying, no, that's fine. Get the third hatch, get the production up, and then we're going to start fighting. Look at this, Zerglings starting to skirmish around. The taste lope on the left side of the map there. This could get very explosive. Okay, so 2 Banelings morphing right there for REYNOR, but 2 defensive Banelings for Dark. Dark's also got forward Banelings from 2 sides on the map. Got to keep these queens safe. Those Banelings are nearby. They should be able to get it up, but the main base is always the most exposed point. The gold base is always where people focus their defense. You can see Dark built double queens there. Dark here takes a pretty decent Zergling trade. Oh, he's got to be so careful of these Banelings coming in. Dark does have a counterattack incoming, though. It looks like his queen's defending well. Should push this back. Banelings waddle into the mineral line. And, ooh, okay, 5 drones. Could have been worse, honestly. But it was actually a good spread on the drones from REYNOR. So that's a good... Oh, shit! Oh no, how did he get those in? Oh my god, can he get a better one? Only 4. Okay, looks like so far both sides are trading rather evenly. If this Baneling can get right on these drones, that would be big. And it does. Oh god, that's very dangerous now because those drones are all 2 hits from death. So even just a few Zerglings getting in there would be big. REYNOR's Baneling does intercept Dark's Banelings. This is pure multitasking chaos, and I think they're both the best mechanical Zergs in the world, Dark and REYNOR. But REYNOR's younger. He's more virile. He's got that fresh, young fucking approach, and honestly, I don't know if Dark can match him in this mechanical war because REYNOR thrives in the chaos, and as much as Dark does against most players, I don't know who's the better mechanical player out of the 2, and this is pure mechanics, instincts, multitasking, redirecting tactically on where you're going to assault. Banelings go to the left side now for Dark, but more Banelings roll into the main there. More drones going down. Not too many, to be fair. He's still only 5 drones killed on each side. Those Banelings do get cleaned up by the Queen and 2 Zerglings. More Banelings on the left. Got to watch out. You do not want those to aggro on the Queen. Watch out, Dark. Watch out. Oh no, he's not watching. And they get wasted on the Queens. Distracted at the front. He's still trying to send in Zergling run-bys. I'd like to see more Banelings walk into that mineral line from the side. Remember, this Baneling nest has really served Dark well. Now, Dark actually has a super quick Roach Warren right now. But this is off 23 drones. He hasn't droned at all. REYNOR has droned up, and that means he has a full gold base. Look at the income tab, top left side, 700, 600 minerals more a minute. That is massive. So the thing is, right now, Dark is all in. He is building lots of roaches. He's got 5, 6 roaches out. He's got to get these to the front right now and push that gold base. The problem for him is look at what REYNOR's doing. He's using the mobility. He's going around for the multitasking. He says, look, if your army beats mine right now, yes, that's scary, but guess what? A Spine Crawler's on the way in his gold base, as is a Roach Warren trying to buy time here with his Ling Bane. Ling's getting the gold base. He already gets 5, 6 worker kills. Very nicely done. He's bought himself a few seconds, but he's losing a lot of Ling Bane as well. This is still very dangerous. He goes for a surround on the roaches, but the Banelings push back his Zerglings. REYNOR, he's got to avoid these Banelings. 2 queens come down. He's got 2 queens on the right side. Uh-oh, transfuse. Transfuse. Oh no, he lost his queens out front for nothing. But on the left side, he does clean up some units. He loses another queen there. The queens have bought him a moment's time, but he didn't really get a lot of value out of the transfuse. I'd love to see a transfuse there. Banelings waddle into the mineral line. That one turns around, going after the Zerglings. These Zerglings still forced to dance around. The roaches focus the Baneling down. Fantastic control by REYNOR. And where is the Ling reinforced for Dark? Remember that Dark is down to just 19 workers. He was doing a 23 drone all in. He lost a bunch more workers on his gold base as he was getting set up. And REYNOR with the perfect timing on these roaches. If REYNOR was 10, 15 seconds later on these roaches, he was absolute toast here. Because look at the rush distance from this gold base to this gold base. It's nothing. It's right there. So this is why I like Dark's game plan. I think it would have worked versus any other Zerg player, but against REYNOR, he just kind of got the Roach Warren up off that 30, 35 drones, got into the Roach play. Both players knew this was going to be leading into the chance of your opponent following up the Ling Bane aggression with a big Roach push. And now REYNOR has won the game. He's basically, I really don't know who was actually winning the early trades, and I will do a rewind at the end of this game, guys. But it's essentially game over, just because REYNOR has double the economy now. I mean, Dark's going to try and do a desperate little Ling Bane attack on the left. He's so far behind economically, though, he won't be able to match the army of REYNOR. There's just no way. So, as I was going to say, I don't know who was winning the trades, but I think strategically, right, Dark was just saying, look, we're going to be really busy fighting with Ling Bane versus each other. Oh, awkward trade there. I'm just going to go straight for roaches, surprise you with a super fast attack, and bam, you'll die. REYNOR, on the other hand, said, I'm going to drone up and actually, you know, in the midst of the Ling Bane, build more economy, and then go into roaches a little bit later. And if he'd left it to 45 drones, drop a Roach Warren, 50 drones, drop a Roach Warren, obviously he would have died. But he dropped it at about 30 drones, and he holds on with fantastic play. Let's take a little look-see here. I'll switch me face on. Got me ZvZ hat on. And if we go back, before the Roach Warren was committed, so this is quite early. Look at how fast he goes for the Roach Warren, guys. So yeah, this is so all in. So Dark is like, I'm playing a normal game. And obviously both players are about the same at this point. They're both escalating the Ling Bane count, trying to put pressure on each other, right? But the Ling Bane fighting hadn't really started at 4 minutes. It was just about to get really going. And obviously they both start running Banelings in. 2 Banelings just killed drones there. He's about... So you know it's going to be a Ling Bane battle. And the difference here is REYNOR's building drones and Dark's not. So if we watch that production tab, check that out, Roach Warren goes down. Now you might think a Roach Warren's not a big deal. That is huge. When you're only on 20, 25 drones, he just lost 4 drones, but it was about 25. A Roach Warren kills a drone, every structure does, but you also spend 150 minerals on it, which is insane. So that's 4 drones that you lose by building a Roach Warren. 1 that immediately dies, that could be mining minerals, and 3 that would pop out in, I think it's 17 seconds for a drone to build, something like that. 12 seconds? Legacy of the Void time, probably 12 seconds. It's not long. So the whole point being, that Roach Warren puts you behind 4 drones, right? So if we look at it, does he build, and then he rebuilds like a handful of drones here, but not that many. And his economy is just so low. And I do feel maybe if some more Zerglings got in on that would be huge. But notice how it's still lots of Ling Bane production as the fighting's happening for REYNOR. And Dark has to do the same. But REYNOR's always squeezing drones in. So let's just ignore the fighting. Let's keep our eye on that production tab. More drones, more drones, more drones. So we've got a guy who dropped the Roach Warren at 25 workers and then drops the second gas as well. So he's trying to mine off 2 gases. Roach's Bane's kill! Roach's Bane's kill! It's so all in. And REYNOR is up to 32 drones. And he should be dropping that Roach Warren any moment now, right? And he also builds 4 queens. 5 queens in total, which is kind of insane, right? 16 more Zerglings. And then he goes, yeah, 32 drones, Roach Warren second gas. So the difference here is someone who said 24, 25 drones, Roach Warren second gas, and 32 drones. Both of these are early Roach Warrens, but you can tell that one being 8 drones faster is actually massive. And the thing is, REYNOR didn't see the Roach Warren, did he? He did not see the Roach Warren. He did see the second gas. Did he actually know what all of this meant? I don't know if he read into the second gas or if this is just a default safe Roach Warren timing for him, but it was perfectly calculated because we always say what's a safe drone lead is about 8 workers. If you go about 8 workers ahead of your opponent in ZvZ, and then immediately make units, right? But if you go, say, 20 drones, 15 drones ahead, myriad situations up to that, they're probably going to kill you. You probably won't be able to get enough army across. And especially with such a short rush distance through the middle here, gold base versus gold base, it's going to be super, super, you know, divisive in terms of how that happens. So very well played here, guys. Really, really well played by REYNOR. Calculates it perfectly, manages that Roach Warren at just the right time. That was a fantastic hold. I got to say, though, before it got to the Roaches, I did want to check who was winning the trades. So let's look at the units lost tab before the Roaches actually started to make an impact on this game. 43 to 45 units lost. REYNOR lost 2 less units. So we can argue REYNOR played slightly better. Right? Now the units... Oh, this tab is a bit buggy, actually. That doesn't show all the banelings. Because the banelings that blow themselves up, I don't think count on this tab. But essentially, you can see that it's almost identical. So mechanically, can we say REYNOR's better than Dark? I don't think so. His opening was tighter, and I give Lambo credit for that. I'm sorry, REYNOR, you're great. I love you, but I still give Lambo credit for your builds being good. Dark has a big weakness, and that is that his openings suck. And his opening did suck in this game. Hatchery late, like I said. Transferred the drones a solid 10, 15 seconds late. But he's not worse than REYNOR mechanically. And that's funny, because my first inclination watching this match was REYNOR's just better than him mechanically. The thing is, Dark gambled on his all-in working, and it just did not hit fast enough. REYNOR just got just the right worker advantage, and then defended perfectly. Let's go to game 2. All right, guys, going into map number 2. Down here in the bottom left side is Roach all-in, getting blocked in game 1 after a very even skirmish war. This is Dark. I do make fun of his openings for being some of the least optimized stuff. I had always thought his openings weren't great and was criticizing them, and I always felt a little bit like of imposter syndrome criticizing him for that. REYNOR in the top right. Until I heard Lambo and Harstem and a bunch of the pros who were like, no, he has the worst openings of any pro gamer. They're like Dark is a meme because we've never seen a player who can play so bad in the opening in terms of just like, why is this so inefficient for no reason? And then win no matter what. And he can put himself behind from the early game and then win no matter what. So Dark has this mythical quality where pro gamers, they fear the shit out of him because he's made so many insane comebacks before. Obviously, we're thinking a lot about his Zerg vs. Terran is where this meme came from, where he'd do this like really derpy Roach build, run across with 6 Roaches, they would do no damage, and the Terran would be infinitely ahead. And he'd just turtle with Roaches, eventually get Lurkers, Vipers, maybe use Infestors to help him get by, and he just survived to late game and then win. And he was so good at doing it, and he's so good at microing his way out of hard situations. We've seen him kill carriers and battle cruisers just with Infestors and Ravagers. He's so good with Neural Parasite, and it's kind of cool. You know, I did get to speak to Dark a little bit at Katowice when I interviewed him, and I think it was after his match with, I can't even remember who. It was a Protoss player, and I was like, dude, man, you're really good with this Infestor Queen, ZVP. Like, how do you know, I always feel like every other Zerg struggles against Disruptors, but you don't seem to. You know, what the hell's the secret? He's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Disruptors are clearly the counter to the way I play it, but Protoss players just don't seem to do it very well. Lol. That was basically his response. I was like, yeah, this is every time I ask a pro gamer for insight during a tournament. I swear it's not. I swear it's like their true thoughts as well. They're not even trying to like. They're not even trying to like give me some sort of like fake answer to hide their strategies. I swear they're not. I swear this is just actually their thoughts on it. Anyways, link speed on the way for both players right now. We've got the spawning pool up there as well. Yeah, Maru's kind of got the same factor in that Maru's insane in late game. It just feels like Maru's late game is actually a perfect late game. Dark's late game is a scrappy, holy shit, how did he make that happen with spellcasters? Whereas Maru's is like, oh, this is just perfect, like, planetary ghost defense and stuff. Like it feels a little bit more like Maru's playing proper late game, whereas Dark just makes magic happen. Zergling's going to move over to the left side. Baneling Nest at the front has been spotted. Reynor has not spotted the Baneling Nest, but you see the third hatchery, and you can pretty much assume your opponent's going Zergling speed. If you're skipping Ling speed, and that would be very rare. The only time you're going to be taking a quick third like this and then skipping the Baneling Nest is if you want to do a big speedling pressure. Use that to kind of pin your opponent back so they can't kill you with Banelings, and then you make a Roach Horn. Go straight to Roach Horn behind it. But neither player doing that here. Reynor, 14 Zerglings on the way, and a Baneling Nest looks like he's going to be the aggressor. These two Zerglings chasing back Dark Zerglings. And he's got two Zerglings hidden on the right as well. Evo Chamber goes down. Creep Tumor is going down. Not very early on that Creep Tumor. You need that Tumor so the Queens can move between the third and the natural. Here come the Lings. Dark sees it. Perfect Overlord positioning. He's got two Banelings morphing. I'd like to see another Baneling morph. He's building a few more Zerglings. I do like that. The Roach Horn there to complete the wall. Not a great wall off. It's a giant choke point, thankfully, for Dark. The Queen has a big old booty, and she's able to plug that shit up. Queen does focus down the Baneling. Good micro by Dark. Baneling only damaging a few units, not getting much else done. Ooh, nice micro from Reynor with only one Queen there. It's not the most powerful anchor. Looks like Banelings tried to come in the left side, but the Queen did block them with that big old booty. And the Banelings here of Dark defending this perfectly. Fantastic play. Dark does need to make more Banelings. He's been incredibly greedy right now. He's only making one more and it's in the natural, but with a few more Zerglings out, Reynor does need to back off. Reynor is going for a Lair. So Lair, probably a second gas soon to follow. Looks like he's going to play 3 base Mutalisks. Is what I would imagine, but nah, it doesn't have to be, actually. Especially since that second gas is a little late if you wanted to play Mutas. It's still possible for him to get a Spire pretty much when the Lair's done. Something to keep in mind. Now, Dark here sticking to his favorite style in the world, which is Carapace. Now, Carapace is awesome because it means Zerglings take 2 shots from Banelings to die. It means that even if your opponent gets +1 attack on their Roaches, the Zerglings will not die to it too quickly. It also means if you've got Roaches up against Mutas, Carapace is incredibly good at blocking their bounce damage because it does diminishing damage with each bounce. And each one of those bounces will be affected by that full extra armor. So if you've got Roaches running through your opponent's bases and they've gone Muta play, which Reynor is going for, then your Roaches just don't die very quickly. If you get +2 Carapace Roaches and that you're fighting Mutas that don't have attack upgrades, the Mutas pretty much tickle them. The Roaches can just walk right past them, kill all the workers, and have a bit of a party. So Spire is on the way there. We've got a fake Roach Horn. Melee upgrade on the way there for Reynor. And he's on 53 drones. God, he's being greedy, isn't he? And Dark, on the other hand, he is just going for the throat right now. Reynor, you need scouting, bro. You need to see the fact that he is about to flood out with Roaches. These Zerglings need to come in and see this. He's making Banelings. Reynor's planning to do a random Ling Bane attack, but he sees these units come out, cancels a few of the Banelings, and I think at this point, you got to realize, yeah, Banelings ain't going to be the most useful thing. He's going to try to do a random-ass Baneling run by anyway, because he's Reynor and he's crazy. Lings are trying to run past. He's buying a little bit of time. This is, okay, yeah, I do like the attempt to buy time. 6 Spine Crawlers go down in the natural immediately. Oh, this is very important. Reynor knows losing the third base is acceptable here as long as you get your Mutas out and defend your natural, and that is such a solid wall off. I would have liked that Spine to be further back so we could plug this with an Evo Chamber. Would have been awesome. I think that's one of the things a lot of players miss out on. Dark is wasting a lot of time chasing this. His Roaches are now cascading across the map, but has he wasted a bit too much time chasing these Zerglings? Maybe he should have just left a few Banelings at home and nothing else. He's got to get in there, but look at that. Walking through that wall into Spines is big. Reynor doesn't have any Banelings to stop the Ling advance, but then that being said, there is not that many Lings coming in. These Lings get 4 drones and a Queen, and they're going after the hatchery. Dark is in trouble right now. He really should have chased these Zerglings down. Reynor's done such a good job with that. Baneling's going to try and get in the Spines. If he could get Banelings in here, they could blow up all 3 Spines, but the Roaches and the Queens are blocking it. He cannot get through. The Baneling Nest could get focused down, but I mean, it's just so hard to breach that sort of wall off, and now the Mutas are out. Yes, he's killed the third base, but there are Mutas out. You need to go home, Dark. I mean, I think he's realizing at this point, there's no way I'm going to get home. I might as well just trade these units out. Let's kill whatever we can, but this choke point has just been such a problem for him. And Reynor with this, oh, look at that Hentacle action. Those Roaches are getting penetrated. Dude, talk about a Spine gang right there. Reynor takes Dark to Spine Town and absolutely messes up that push. Units lost tab, very good for Reynor, of course. His third base did die. Immediately rebuilds it. And I think in this scenario, what would be really cool is if he takes a 4th base straight away as well. Because you know there's no follow-up attack for a long time. Dark has to build up workers behind that. Wait, what the fuck? Why is Dark building Roaches? Okay, Dark you should be fully oversaturating this base right now. Dark, for some reason, building roaches. I think it's because he's worried about a counterattack of Lings joining in with the Mutas, but he's already got 27 Lings on the map. So Dark here, missing an opportunity to go straight to 66 workers, and he continues to build roaches. A bit too aggressive for Dark. When your opponent has air superiority, you know you can't really do much else. Now, maybe he's planning a Nidus attack since he's massing Queen Roach right now, but then he's adding more drones as well. Dark here, not being very focused in the direction that he's going, and REYNOR, on the other hand, he is holding down the Muta Zergling key, and he's even morphing Banelings. So what the hell? Banelings as well? This is really bizarre. This really is interesting. So I think he's going to leave the Banelings at home to defend and then maybe join up his Zerglings on the offense. Queen in the wall off, not quite in position. Oh, she barely got it. Well done. 14 mutas are out. He's going up to 16 mutas. REYNOR is really trying to do damage. Now, I've talked a lot. I've studied a lot of Rogue versus Dark, and they often end up in this scenario. Mutas for Rogue versus Dark's Roaches. Now, if there's one thing we've learned over the years is Dark will not let you do damage with Roaches. A lot of people will let you do damage. If you hold the Muta key down and build that count, you'll get heaps of damage. But in this scenario, I actually think REYNOR is doing it the wrong way. I think he delayed his fourth a long time. He's only now saturating his third. He could have saturated that a minute ago. Great Baneling hit there, though. Did clean these Zerglings up. I think he's missing out an opportunity to drone this base up, get the fourth, and also, where's his Baneling speed? Yeah, finally Baneling speed starts. If he already had that up, so he could be rolling Banelings in already, in towards the natural, in towards this third base. All you need to do is get past the Roaches. Even though Roaches beat Banelings, you come in with 15 Banelings. If they don't create a solid wall, you're going to get in that mineral line and kill everything. But because he's been so focused on building the Muta count, there's a lot of pressure on REYNOR to do damage with these Mutas, to get value out of them. And he's actually still got a few Zerglings on the map, does Dark. Finally, he's going to clean up this Overlord on the right side, which is very important. And those Zerglings aren't going to do much. Now, he does have +1 air weapons, does REYNOR. Drones and the Queen do defend in the main base, but Dark has managed to lock things down. I still think his economy has been way too slow to build up. He's making 5 Infestors, but he's made them very late in this game. And to me, this feels like Dark missed an opportunity to hold the drone key down, oversaturate this base the moment his push was dying, then build the Spores, then build the Infestors, and then add the Queens and the Roaches and everything else. But he's done it in a bit of a weird way where he's always wanted to have extra Roaches on the ground, and it does feel like both players have been a little slower to build their economy than I thought they could. Now, that's me being very critical. Let's keep in mind both guys are known as hyper-aggressive players who find timing attacks no one else does, so they're both showing an immense amount of respect. REYNOR wanting to continue building the Muta count in case a surprise Nidus Worm came, in case a surprise Roach Hydra push came out. And Dark, on the other hand, worried about Ling Muta counterattacks and dives, building lots of Spores, Queens, Roaches for safety. So both players showing immense respect. Mass Baneling on the right side. That's 20 Banelings. The Muta's going to try and distract in the main now. When you get to about 25 Mutas, or actually exactly 25 Mutas, I think with +1, maybe 22, you can actually one-shot or two-shot Spore Crawlers. So you can run in and kill a Spore Crawler without even losing a Mutalisk if there's no Queens to transfuse. Gets a Lurker that's morphing, grabs a Queen, Banelings. Oh, the Roaches aren't able to stop them, and he just clicks on the hatch. He's like, yeah, it would have been nice to kill drones, but the hatchery's sitting right there. Dark, back to 2 base, and this is a disaster. Dark may have a Hive, but the fact that he has not been able to even start a 4th base, and now his 3rd goes down, that's very bad for him. And look at that. See what I'm talking about? The Mutas come in, 1 Muta goes down, but he catches a couple of the Spores, and there's not much damage behind this. The Fungal seems scary, but he gets 1, 2, 3. He'll get 3. Does he get a 4th Mutalisk? He gets 4 Mutalisks, but that cost him about 4 Fungals. It's not the biggest amount. Banelings roll in. They don't get much damage. 2 drones, and they blow up. I think that was the Baneling Nest. Indeed, it was. Baneling Nest does go down. REYNOR now up on 5 bases. He's on 76 drones. He's building 9 more, and he's swapping into Hydrogen. He's gone Infestation, he's going Hive. So he's actually going to swap into Lurkers from here. Now, when your opponent's as screwed as Dark is here, I think Ultras is a much easier way to win the game. Ah, bad micro from REYNOR. Guys, in that scenario, you want to run your Banelings in, and then grab your front Banelings, and you want to take them from here and click them to the right. That way the Lurkers shoot the way my mouse cursor is moving. And then the rest of your Banelings can run right over the top of the Lurkers, straight past them. So if Dark doesn't target fire with the Lurkers, it's kind of like dragging a Widowmine. It's the exact same theory. You want to take your front Zerglings or Banelings and then pull them off to the side or off in a different direction away from your Banelings. So he tries to do it there, but with the Infestors, the Roaches as well backing that up, does decide to pull out. Now the Mutas come in and they do find the Queens on their own. It's not that many Mutas though, so they aren't able to do it really. And we've got 1-1 upgrades, Hive, Hydra upgrades on the way. The 5th base gas is fully mining. So when you're up against a guy, oh, and he even cancels the base with some Ling Bane. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. Does he even have some hatchery kills? Yeah, it looks like that one was a kill. Actually, no, that would have been this hatchery. So that one was cancelled. Well done by Dark, but honestly, at this point, Dark is on 6 gases, and his main base gases are bloody almost dry. You're on 10 gas geysers. It's all about your Viper lurk account. That's going to be massive. But at the same time, guys, Dark is dead in this game. He's got so little economy. He's got, what? 7 lurkers, 18 roaches, 5 infestors, 2 vipers. I'll tell you what, guys. The infestors and the vipers are worthless against Ultra Viper. The roaches, near worthless versus Ultra Lingbane Viper. So if REYNOR simply made Ultras here, he could just make about 4 or 5 Vipers, Ultras, ton of Overseers, and he could attack here, over here on the left, and down here, all at the same time, and the Ultras would smash through this sort of defensive setup, and it would be very easy. But REYNOR making the exact same mistake that several's made against him in the past of saying, no, I need lurkers, I need to be efficient. And this is a missed opportunity, and REYNOR is making his life a lot harder than it needs to be. And this is part of what I consider to be a big flaw in the thinking of a lot of Zerg players these days, where they think Ultra's bad, Ultra's no good, Ultra bad unit. Ultras are actually an amazing unit. If you've got a bit of an economic advantage and momentum, it's a very easy way to get a victory. And so I do think REYNOR's missed an opportunity. That being said, he's still going to go into the Lurker game with a massive advantage on just about everything except the upgrades. Now, his Lurker Den's still not finished, so I don't know, man. I feel like he should have gone double Lurker Den here. He desperately needs to get these upgrades because you're so far ahead. It's like, get your upgrades, get over there and start trading with him as quickly as possible. He's got, how many Vipers does he make? 5 Vipers is really good. And you might want to start without even really using lurkers and maybe just use Vipers. Run in, abduct some lurkers, kill them, pull back. Use like a real mobile army. But a lot of his supply is still tied up in 25 banelings, which is not that much supply. That's only 12 supply. But the 16 mutas is another 32 army supply that is kind of shit in frontal fights. And they're not really doing anything at this stage. So not sure what he's going to be able to do with those. As Dark now starting to try and bleed out his roaches, send them across the map. He does have his 7th and 8th gas geysers up. It's going to help him out a fair bit. And REYNOR still just taking extra gases. 6th base gas going to be very important. It would be a really good idea in this scenario. REYNOR should probably take this base and this base straight away. If you've got full map control, you know this could always draw out to a stalemate. If you start mining out especially the gas on these 2 middle bases, gas is the most important thing in Zerg vs. Zerg. It's going to be denying your opponent's future income. And you can see how impotent Dark is right now. All he can really do is sit behind his walls and hope to survive. And if you're sieging your opponent, which REYNOR really is here, then siege your opponent. Shit, take this base, dog. Like, you could probably start mining these 2 bases, and even that's going to force Dark out of his defensive tortoise shell. He's got his head tucked in behind his armor. He's planting the haft of his spear in the ground, and he's going, please charge into me with your cavalry and impale yourself on me spears and pikes, because I cannot move into the open ground. Like, right now, it's a defensive kind of tortoise formation, a bunch of pikes, and REYNOR is like I don't know, like a Mongol army or something, you know? It's like, you know, if you go out there and try to pursue him into what he wants, then, well, these banelings ain't going to do shit. Tries to have a bit of a spready on him, and he manages to damage a spore crawler and kill 3 drones. Not the worst thing, definitely not the greatest. But as I said, REYNOR's like going to be like horse archers coming in from all sides, cavalry harrying your lines. And the moment you break formation here, REYNOR with so much more money, not to mention the banelings and mutas that could do run-bys and hurt your economy, it's going to make things awkward. Now, Dark, he is a big fan of mass lurker, and I like these lurkers because a lot of people try to run down here with lurker overseer and siege your mineral line. So he's already got 4 lurkers and 4 spore crawlers over there. Queen's down here as well. Should be able to defend those mutas quite nicely. Does cancel that hatchery. Nicely done. Oh, big attack on the left side. There are 4 lurkers set up, though. REYNOR's just going to shove his Vipers way behind. This is a very sloppy attack for REYNOR. He does abduct 2 lurkers, but look at that. Parasitic bombs all over the Overseers and the Vipers. Fungal landing on a bunch of the units and trapping them, and REYNOR just runs into the meat grinder. Super Meat Boy Simulator right there. Honestly, it felt like a pork chop jumping into the fucking grinder, didn't it? He's just like, oh, turn me into mincemeat, buddy. That fight was not good. Look at the units lost tab. You're meant to be behind in that regard. Mutiling Bane versus a defensive Roach Turtle player. You've got the map control. You've got the bigger economy. You can afford to be behind in the units lost. But now that you're playing Lurker Viper versus Lurker Viper, it's all going to be about that efficiency, especially if you're not denying bases or anything, which you no longer are really doing. Dark is taking a 5th. 3/3 upgrades are finally going to be catching up here for REYNOR. Dark did not make his +3 armor. There we go. Starts it up now. He's got a lot of Evo chambers. This is his energy bank, if you guys are wondering. So notice how he's going to try and just gather energy off those Evos. If he leaves them alive, it's nice as they do very slowly regenerate. And Ro8 is getting hunted down by Mutas on the right side. This game's very much slowed down. Now remember, REYNOR is known for being very, very good at fighting. He's very good at mobility. He does not like sitting there. He's vocally critical of players that just want to sit there. I mean, he's in the earlier rounds even of this tournament, he said, hey, you know, if they just want to sit there, fine, I'll change the way I play. I can do that. I can sit there if I want to, but I do not want to. And he's done it in previous tournaments where he's even lost matches because he's so eager to finish. Now, Hydra Lurker push comes in. You got to watch out. There's still Queens back there. Where's the Lurkers of Dark, actually? Okay, nice. Does get an abduct down. The Hydra Lurker, you've got to watch out for these Lurkers, though. REYNOR gets a couple of kills, but the Queen Transfuse has been sick. And Dark does not want to let those Hydras out of there, but great Blinding Clouds to cover his retreat. He's still got 2 Lurkers on the right side. They are doing some decent damage. Queens fighting Lurkers, one of the funniest things I've seen in a little while. They are very, very slowly going to take those out, and they do kill them right now. It looks like a drop in the main was there as well. A Lurker drop came in, but Dark was prepared. Spores and a Lurker in the main base. Let's check in on that unit's loss tab. It's gone to an 11,000 resource difference. The efficiency is still there for Dark at 2-1. Now, this is starting to get a little reminiscent of a series, I believe it was in Super Tournament? Was it one of the Super Tournaments? Or, man, I remember there was a Berlingrad game, Rogue vs. Dark, where Rogue was in a similarly dominant position and Dark just turtled and survived. And in the late game, Dark was 2 times the cost efficiency of Rogue, despite having the exact same unit composition. And it felt like Rogue was a really shit player who could not micro late game units, and I really judged him hardly, you know, very, very harshly for it. So far, though, REYNOR's just dropping units to his death. He's throwing attacks into their death. At this point, just throw the Mutas away, I think is the good idea. The Mutas are just a waste of supply. But how does he break these positions? Honestly, he's got to be very slow and methodical. He can't be trying to catch Dark out of position because Dark's not moving. Guys, like, a lot of StarCraft is you lead your opponent out of position and then you run in, you get behind them, you get on their bases, you take a fight in a good position. If you're fighting a Tortoise, you can't do that because the Tortoise will never chase you into a bad position. REYNOR's really good at leading his opponent out into a bad spot. Against a Tortoise, you can't do that. You need to just get your fucking, your chisel out, get your hammer, and start just chiseling the shell off its back. It's painful, it's torturous, it takes a long time, but you've got to do it. And here we go. Going to try and siege up on the edge. Not sure who's winning these fights. Does get a few of Dark's Vipers, which is very nice. You can see just 10,000 resources behind now, so does close that gap by about 500 to 1,000. REYNOR's still got a giant bank advantage. Random Lurker does run forward. Where are these Overseers coming forward? Yeah, you got to use the Overseer Pervert mode. Look at those Fungals, though! Oh, the Fungal from Dark actually pops a Viper. Almost gets the other 2 as well. But there we go. Nice of Dark's. Dark has got to answer this. Dark's only got 3 Vipers right now, but... Uh-oh, spready. Okay, good spready there. That Viper will die. The bees! Ah! Does go down. Lurker gets pulled to the front. Spore does take that one down as well. Right now we've got a worker advantage, a massive bank advantage for REYNOR. But where's the Vipers? He's got 3 Vipers. He's lost some of them. He's got to transfuse these. At this point, it's all about efficiency. Injects don't really matter because you've already got 56 lava saved up. So what you want to do is you want to be transfusing your Vipers every time they go back to gather energy. And you can even have like a Creep Queen control group just hanging out over here. And it's almost like a transfuse aid station. And there we go. REYNOR does fix up those Vipers. So this is where in the late game you get so efficient, man. If you can transfuse those Vipers every time they go back, it is just beautiful. And Overseer wanders into a Spore Crawler, not the best. Dark's able to secure another base. That early disadvantage is starting to fade away. Look at the bank. Oh, Mutas. Okay, yeah, just throw him away. There's such a waste of supply, dude. Get rid of him. Get rid of him, REYNOR. Waste of time. Does, of course, take out Dark's Changelings that were trying to get some vision. Very good way of getting vision is to just drop tons of Changelings out of all your Overseers. Keep sending them in. If your opponent doesn't click on them all, then you get some free information on where their army's at. Muta's going to go down the right side, see if he can find something. If he avoids the spores, he could sit down in the bottom left of that base and do something with them. And indeed he will. 4 Mutas get on in there, picking off a couple of drones, forcing them to run away. 3 workers do go down to the bounce damage. Very nicely done. The Queens will finally clean this up. He's going to try and shove the left side again, but Dark is prepared for it. Oh, get out of there, REYNOR. Okay, a couple Overseers and a Lurker go down. Good pullback by REYNOR, though. So once again, he's trying to do this caught you out of position business, and I don't know if that's the way to do it. I think, you know, start sieging the spores with Lurkers, but then you know, if you come from this angle, bam, yoink these lurkers out of the ground, yoink those infestors over, give him a bit of a yoinky, yoinky, yankee, yank. ZvZ in the late game does end up being, you know, often a couple of boys just yanking each other off, but it is the way to play it. Oh, he runs into the spores. I mean, those abducts might have looked good for REYNOR, but he sacrificed 5 Vipers, and he cannot chase into these lurkers. Watch out, his Hydras are moving into the lurkers. He's trying to shove forward. REYNOR, what are you doing, mate? An absolute shit show. He's lost patience. And oh man, I mean, there's a lot of things that people, you know, fear. People say a brave soldier is a strong soldier. You know what's more scary than that? A smart soldier, someone who's both brave and intelligent. You know, some people's answer to a fearful situation is to just fucking headlong charge into it and say, hey, I'm not afraid. Yeah, well, if you're not able to engage your brain, maybe you are afraid. And it feels like REYNOR a little afraid of playing a slow, methodical late game with Dark here, because he literally just grabbed his army, shoved it into the lurker spore. You do not fly Vipers over spore crawlers, guys. Spore crawlers do an insane amount of damage. Remember, they do 30 damage a shot versus biological. They butcher the Vipers. And even if you blinding cloud them, if you fly right over them, they're still going to be able to shoot you. Because remember, blinding cloud, it gives them melee range. It doesn't actually stop them from shooting. It gives them melee range. If you fly over them, they're still going to be able to shoot you. REYNOR now goes for 15 Vipers. That's okay. Yeah, no, this is REYNOR's lost the plot. REYNOR has actually lost the plot at this point, guys. 15 Vipers is too many. I would argue 8, 9, 10 Vipers is awesome, but 15 is a point where it just gets silly. You're not going to use that many spells. All you're going to do is take extra damage from Parasitic Bomb. This is ridiculous. This is not the best play from REYNOR, in my opinion. I think he's getting really silly in how he's playing. He's getting frustrated. Dark is just sitting there patiently draining him of what's going on. The infestors get abducted. A few queens up front go down. I don't think you mind losing those queens right now as Dark. You've still got 5 behind it. And here we go! Abduct war, but the Hydras were a bit far to the left there for REYNOR, which means the spores do the work for Dark, and REYNOR, on the other hand, losing quite a few of those Vipers. I think it might have been an even trade in terms of units lost. Actually, 3 Vipers going down on each side, but how's the next stage go? Oh, the spores! Oh my god, so many Vipers. Remember, it was 15 versus 9. 8 Vipers have fallen for REYNOR, 6 for Dark. There we go. That could get some value, though. That was all right. I think at this point you want to pull back, though. Do you really want to keep abducting these units as REYNOR? I think you've got to pull back here. Add more lurkers, get more energy, transfuse your Vipers, and look for the efficiency. I think he is a little bit too headbutty right now. And as much as I do always think of that one time I met, you know, was out having a few drinks with the lads as a young 16-year-old, and we came across a guy who was headbutting a bus stop. And we were like, hey, bro. And he's like, what's up, kids? And we were like, why are you headbutting the bus stop, man? And he's like, I just got out of fucking prison, and I'm horny. And we were like, what? That's interesting. And then we had like a whole discussion. Right now, to cut a very deranged story short, REYNOR is playing like the guy who was headbutting the bus stop. Stop headbutting the bus stop. I don't know how that's going to solve the fact that you just got out of prison and you're horny. These are the justifications of a man who's not thinking straight. Dark now going to counterattack with some Hydras. Oh, was this a mistake for Dark? Oh, it might be a sandwich though. REYNOR actually gets sandwiched there by the lurkers from the south. It was a trap. The Hydras lure him out of position there. And, okay, we've got lurkers, Hydras, Vipers. Lurkers and Vipers move to the right, Hydras to the left. He's going to deny this base. Remember I said REYNOR should mine these bases out earlier, guys? Didn't mine a single bit of gas before this went down. He's had about 10 minutes of complete map control, and he didn't do it. Now, he's taken the right side. He has mined a lot of gas there, to be fair. But imagine if he'd mined out some of the gas down here. Imagine if he'd mined some of the resources here. Even with this insane cost inefficiency, 22,000 resources behind, literally half the efficiency, echoes of that exact same game versus Rogue, it is still a big issue. It's still a big issue. Like, Dark was so far behind in the mining for so long, but REYNOR did not take the forward bases, and when you are sieging your opponent, you've got to fucking siege them. You've got to deny their bases. You've got to take that stuff away from them. Lurkers do get yoinked out of the ground. Dark, do not push there. Okay, this is a crazy push for Dark. Dark trying to shove with the numbers, but he's out of energy. He only had a single blinding cloud there. He needs to gather more energy by sucking some energy off of the buildings. Hatchery gets retaken on the left side. Right side is going to be able to mine out the gases in a few minutes' time. Dark still leading in the efficiency, even greater than 2-1. Got 7 Vipers out, 4 more on the way. So REYNOR's going to go to a little bit of a more reasonable 11 Viper count. Sitting on 7 Vipers is Dark. Still has this Infestor. I think that's left over from early game. I can't imagine he'd be rebuilding Infestors. It can be very nice if you land a Fungal on the Vipers, right? That's probably the best usage for it. If you land a Fungal on your enemy Vipers, drop a Parasitic Bomb on them, you get a crazy amount of damage, and you can kill a lot of those Vipers. Or if you abduct them, and then you Fungal them over your Spore Crawlers. So the Infestor is really cool. It's just doing that while trying to move your Lurkers out of enemy Blinding Clouds. Blinding Cloud their Lurkers, abduct their Lurkers, abduct their Vipers, Parasitic Bombing their Vipers. There's a lot of shit to do in these fights, and that's why the Infestor, most mortals will just forget it exists. Dark has still been adding those Fungals into his fights so far. You can see the production tab's empty right now. Both sides, some beautiful upgrades, and going to try and resaturate these gases. So important to mine out forward bases when your opponent's turtling. It's one of the best ways to put pressure on them without actually fighting, but REYNOR, he's been all about headbutting into Dark so far in this game. Fungal does come forward. It's a cute Fungal. Doesn't do a crazy amount, but, you know, catches a few units in Lurker range as well. Now, there's still Roaches in it. Why have we still got 6 Roaches? Roaches are the most worthless unit, guys. A 4-range unit is never going to get in contact of anything, and with Lurkers on the field, they're just going to die. They're never going to do anything. Abduct going down. REYNOR actually kills 2 of Dark's Vipers. That was pretty nice. If he could just... Oh, man, if he got an Overseer here, he could abduct so many Lurkers right now. But REYNOR is a little too slow to shuffle his vision forward. Dark has a Pervert there. There we go. You see? Yeah, there we go. He sees a Lurker there. Dude, if he moves more Overseers forward, he could actually be grabbing these Lurkers. Whenever you're in a standoff like that and Dark's just sitting there, his units are on the edge of range for you to pick off. And likewise, I do think Dark could do the same thing. I think Dark could do a bit of a better job shuffling an Overseer forward and yoinking some of these units into the death. Even just Hydralisks, well worth the abduct, mate. And grab the front Overseer is actually a really cool move. People think of Overseers as worthless units. Guys, it's 150 minerals and 50 gas. It's not that cheap. It's not the most important, but if you're in a stalemate, it's well worth killing. Okay, loses 1 Lurker, does Dark, grabs a few Lurkers, and okay, Viper's getting abducted there. REYNOR does start to pick up some Viper kills, and you can see now, oh, he's better than 2-to-1 cost inefficiency. REYNOR still way fucking behind, but these last couple of skirmishes were okay. So really, let's be real, guys. When REYNOR's patient, it feels like he's trading reasonably evenly, maybe even slightly better than Dark. And then he's just like, cool, I killed a few Vipers, now I can shove. And every time he shoves, it's a disastrous choice. The Overseer should always be leading the charge. He's got to be better at shuffling these Overseers forward in and out of siege mode, but you can tell he's just not as practiced at it as he would like to be. Now, right now, Dark, he really should be answering this with his Vipers. He's going to send his Hydras for a counterattack. Not a bad idea. That puts a lot of pressure on REYNOR, and you can't really shove through here too quickly, but oh, great abducts on the Lurkers. That was a beautiful set of abducts, and as Dark screwed up, I think Dark might have screwed up by running those Hydras around, guys. Why did he abandon this position? Because now he can't really abduct your Vipers unless he's got the spores in position. He's trying to move these spores back in these Lurkers, trying to hang on his Dark. He's got to gather some more energy, suck some energy off those extractors would be a good idea. Oh, the Vipers are taking a lot of spore shots. Blinding Clouds go down, and this handful of Lurkers do defend. Hydras take out a second base. They're going to keep running forward here. REYNOR is losing a lot of economy. I don't know if it's the most important to have economy when you've got this giant bank, but actually, the bank looks good for REYNOR, but if you look closely, this is the number that matters, and he's only got about half the bank of Dark. Spore Crawlers are going to get pushed back here. Trying to shove into Lurkers, though, is a very dangerous proposition. He needs more Overseers right now. Where are your Overseers, dude? He's only got 1 Overseer with his actual mobile army. He's going to chase the Hydras down now, but watch out! He's going to get sandwiched! Oh no, REYNOR thinks he's the one who's the hunter, but he is in fact the hunter. This is the exact same position that Dark lured him in before. What are we calling? This is Dark's Corridor of Fuck. That's what that is. I don't know what you guys want to call it. Maybe you have a more eloquent name. I'm calling this Dark's Corridor of Fuck because that's 2 times. He ran up the left to threaten the base. REYNOR tried to corner his units and got sandwiched from below by the Lurkers and the Blinding Clouds at the same time as the Hydras turned around and fucked on him. That was beautiful, dude. The Hydras are going to shove through. There's no Lurkers for REYNOR. REYNOR's outnumbered. There's no Lurkers. Blinding Clouds on all sides, but it might be an overextension for Dark. REYNOR's out of energy. REYNOR, you need to get energy on those Vipers. They need to go suck some more energy off those buildings. But look at the gas count. Dark's actually struggling for minerals, funnily enough. He's really got to transfer workers. He's got 37 workers. I don't know where they're mining from right now. He's got to have, I guess, some extra workers there. He's got to put some extra workers on these bases. He is redroning at this moment. But Dark just took some fantastic trades, and he might be a little below 2-to-1, but it's close enough that this is still a disgustingly efficient game for Dark. showing that he is the master of all chads. A lot of people said, we haven't seen REYNOR at a live event in 2 years. Look at how much he's fleshed out. What has he been lifting? He's got big shoulders. He's got big muscles now. Little do they realize that before REYNOR ever even thought about being a chad, Dark was the chaddest of chads. Dark was out there banging Protoss players, Zergs and Terrans before REYNOR even hit puberty, mate. And these lurkers and hydras pushing in, but once again, REYNOR headbutts the bus stop. He runs up to a brick wall and headbutts it. The brick wall, a face materializes on the side. We realize it is not but a brick wall. Dark used a fucking disguise, turned himself into a brick wall. You see Dark's grinning face, that shit-eating grin that we know from Dark when he kills forwarders, pops open on the brick wall and says, "Hey, dickhead, are you actually trying to headbutt a brick wall? Get the fuck out of here." REYNOR just got slaughtered on this front. Yes, he grabs a few lurkers on the backside of it, but look at this. Dark's gonna take the left side base. Dark is slowly pushing him back and encroaching this territory. REYNOR is gonna mine the rest of this gas on the right side, which should go, awesome, you've mined so much more gas. Until you remember, he's mined every single bit of gas out. He's got 1,400 gas left on this base and this base. He's got no gas in the bank. He's down on army. And guess what? Pretty fresh gases. 4,000 more gas there. 1,100 there. That brings it up to 5,100. Another 1,700. 6,700 gas. And another 3,000 almost there. So Dark has 10,000 more gas he can mine off his current bases and 4,000 more in the bank. And we get to see what your inefficiency gets you when you do not care about your Vipers, when you do not care about your lurkers enough. I mean, things go really badly. Look at this. He's lost 52 lurkers, has REYNOR, to 34 of Dark. He's lost 38 Vipers to 20. That there is an example of who is the superior turtler. And I didn't actually share this yet, guys. But before this, I was watching this series live in our green room. And as the series started out, a translator, Maddox, came up and he said, "Oh, you know, I just spoke to Dark just as he was going out to the series." And I was like, "Yeah, how you going? How you feeling against REYNOR?" And he said, "Oh, you should buckle in. I'm going to play the slowest, most boring Zerg vs. Zerg series you've ever watched." And yeah, I mean, game 1 didn't go the way he wanted, but game 2, what has he done, guys? He fell behind and now he has turtled his fucking ass off. And he has realized that this is something REYNOR just gets too frustrated to deal with. REYNOR likes to fight. Dark is not letting him do it. REYNOR goes for a desperate Zergling backstab. Doesn't even get the hive snipe. Not that it would have mattered. I mean, Dark is so rich. REYNOR with a last-ditch effort push one more shove into the heart of Dark's territory. But look at the lurker count. He's blinding clouds on all sides. It looks like a good arc until you realize Dark's coming in from every single side and no blinding clouds on those hydras on the south. The squad of hydras on the south just took REYNOR to Dicktown. And that cost inefficiency is absolutely brutal. 45,000 resources lost to 83,000. Guys, I take back everything I said. For those of you who saw that cast versus Rogue, where I said Rogue sucks at late game, Rogue can't micro Vipers, what the fuck is Rogue doing? Apparently it's not just Rogue and REYNOR. Apparently, some of the best players in the world suck at Turtle Lurker Viper compared to Dark. Apparently Dark is the god of just patiently sitting there and going, "Hey dickhead, hey dickhead, I'm gonna build a Roman fort around your fucking city and wait until you impale yourself on me defenses." Beautiful play by Dark there. Ties up the series 1-1. All right. Oh my lord, suffering an embarrassing defeat in that last map. Having the lead from early and letting it slip away, getting too overeager. The young and overly aggressive world champion does go down there in the last map. Of course, it's still tied up 1-1. This is REYNOR representing Clash Gaming and Red Bull. On the top left, we've got representing Dragon Phoenix Gaming, Dark. Of course, some of you who may not watch a lot of live tournaments may be wondering why people always go on about Pig and Roaches, Pig and Dark. Let's just say there's two things that get me very passionately excited, and there's been moments where I'm so literally aroused while commentating big live tournaments that I may have made vaguely orgasmic sounds while casting them. Roaches were the original one, and one point I was casting Dark, and let's just say I've been accused of maybe having to change my pants after the game that we cast, and yeah, became a little bit of a meme. So Dark's Roaches, perhaps something that gets me a little bit excited, and with good reason. I don't even apologize for it. I'm a connoisseur of good high-level StarCraft, and I'm not ashamed to say I do get excited when I watch people make impressive comebacks like that last game, and that was epic. That was super sick. It was beautiful, beautiful play. So I think what you guys do want to think about, though, in that last game, is that REYNOR had a massive advantage. He did take a little while to start doing Baneling run-bys. I do think he could have also done Zergling drops in the main. I always talk about how players should be doing more Zergling drops when they're playing Mutaling Bane versus a Roach Queen Turtle player that's trying to get up to the Lurkers and the Vipers. But I also think Ultra Viper is one of the easiest to use and best compositions. REYNOR had 90 drones. And the great thing about Ultras is you can do exactly what REYNOR wanted to do in that last game. Now, I'm not saying one style is better than the other, Lurkers or Ultras. What I'm saying is that with the way REYNOR wanted to play that last game, which was, I have a lead and now I want to just fucking overwhelm you. Let's be real, that's what he did. He kept grabbing his army and shoving it into terrible positions and throwing it away. The great thing is you can do that with Ultra Viper and it'll work. You attack multiple areas at once, so you're always getting at least one Ultra into a mineral line to kill 20 drones, even if there's a Lurker slowly killing it. You've got Ultras running in from all sides, and you blinding cloud the Lurkers, which keeps forcing them to like unburrow and burrow and that sort of stuff. It is actually incredible how good Ultra Viper is, and it's actually quite cost efficient as well, especially if your opponent doesn't already have, say, 20 Lurkers. Now, and I really think he could have hit when Dark had 10, 12 Lurkers, and a few Spore Crawlers. Now, if Dark had a chance to literally wall off with Evo Chambers and Spores and Spines and 25 Lurkers, Ultras do become a bad unit, but that was far, far away in that game. So you can argue, okay, you should have just gone Lurkers. Now, I think that's 100% what he should have done in the way he played the game. Now, you could argue, well, if REYNOR was going to play Lurkers, he needed to just simply play different. He was playing the slow, patient composition, and he should have played slow and patiently, which he did not do. Nonetheless, he's got to wash that away. Both players amassing Link Bane. This is going to be a very aggressive fight right now. Both players identical. 2 more workers for Dark, so he might be a little more defensive here. He's got 2 Banelings on the front though, ready to morph. Hidden. REYNOR about to flood out across this map. He's got no Overlord on the right side, and that is a weakness. This Overlord is not even going there. He sent 2 Overlords to the same position. A big mistake for REYNOR. That will give him no warning of these Banelings. His Overlord positioning is the reason why he'll take damage to those Banelings. If he does take damage. Baneling goes down. There's another Cocoon about to finish, but a great fight for REYNOR. That was awesome fight, guys. Look at that. He lost 7 Zerglings for 14, and he targets the Baneling, sacrifices a few Zerglings for it to get the advantage here, and this is very well done. Banelings roll in, and I told you guys. Did I not tell you? Every time I'm coaching a fucking cocky Diamond player, and I bitch about their Overlord placement in Zerg vs. Zerg, and they go, Pig, it's not that important. And I'm like, yes, it is! REYNOR literally just lost 9 drones. This should have been a game-winning scenario. It should have been a game-winning scenario. Instead, he doesn't get the 3rd base, and he loses 9 friggin' drones there to a devastating Baneling run by, and it's all because he had 2 Overlords in the one spot when he should have had one of those Overlords out here. It would have given him a lot more vision, a lot more warning and time to respond. Now it's a very even game. Still up 4 workers is REYNOR, so this is still a very close game here. Queen does take out a few Zerglings. Roaches! Holy shit, there's roaches! Oh, he's going all in. Oh god, Dark's going all in. Well, I did not even realize this, guys. He snuck a Roach Warren in. It's a 1 gas, 26 drone Roach Warren build. Now, obviously, he hasn't lost a single drone as well. This is what he was trying to do on Pride of Altaris as well, and he's going to at least kill the 3rd base, but I don't think he can actually kill REYNOR, right? Just because the Roach got spotted as it emerged, right? So he's built 7 Roaches. He's going to pull them home defensively, which is kind of a very mature decision, isn't it? Is it the right decision? I feel like he's already built so much Ling Roach Bane. He's still just leave a Baneling or 2 at home and go across this map. These Zerglings do need to chase REYNOR. Oh, REYNOR with the distraction Zergling. That Zergling says, I fucked your mum. I fucked your mum. It's a Call of Duty Zergling. Can you believe it, guys? A Call of Duty player Zergling there. And all the Zerglings chased it. Now, quickly, Dark did give an order to go change and try to hunt down those Zerglings. But they've dodged him. They've dodged him. Look at this. Okay, so he manages to get away there. And he's, okay, so doesn't actually get big damage, but at least he's hidden these Zerglings, and Dark doesn't know where they are. He doesn't know there's Zerglings there. He doesn't know they're there. He knows they could be out on the map, but it just forces Dark into a defensive stance. And that really is a fantastic play. I love the distraction Zergling. If your opponent's just on attack move and isn't watching for a moment, you can lure them with the Zergling that's closest to the pack, while the rest of the Zerglings disengage and hide. Zergling's going to try and chase down those Zerglings on the north. Oh, no! Oh, no! Again? Another cancel on the 3rd? Oh, this is a disaster for REYNOR at this point. I mean, he's only just started his lair, guys. REYNOR He needs an extra expansion. I mean, he's up on workers, so it's not too bad. He gets a queen. If he could get some zerglings here, that'd be huge. He's hidden 2 zerglings as well off to the right. He could morph sneaky Southeast Asian banelings there. Queens are defending here. Oh my god, the roach is the choke point. The roaches can't get through. The zerglings go into the mineral line, but against a roach and a drone pool, the drones, if they fight, they're going to kill that. The queen's holding the choke like absolute effing champions right now. Baneling's trying to get in. Oh god, he builds an Evo there. Oh god. Baneling will wound every single drone. They're all a few hits from death. The queen's going down just before they hit 50 energy for transfuse. REYNOR should have been dead right here, though. Surely, he was so outnumbered. But he holds using the Evo Baneling wall off the choke point. He's still on 2 base versus 3 base, but he actually killed so many drones in the midst of that, guys. Bring up the workers up. He killed 11 workers with that Zergling run by. 11 workers with the Zergling run by because Dark was so focused on the front. I think it was maybe 5 with the Zergling run by and then 5 or 6 more with the Banelings that came in afterwards. My observing has been really shit in this game because there's so much going on right now. The Roaches there. That Baneling gets targeted down by Dark's Roaches. Roaches and Zerglings trying to finish him off, but Dark, he's kept his drones alive. He hasn't really been losing any drones. REYNOR is just keeping the drones alive. Dark trying to focus down. Get on here. Get on in. Boys, get on in. You've got to... Oh no, Dark with some lazy A moves. Not quite targeting as well as he should. And REYNOR scrambling together. Look at this one little roach there. Oh my god, and the drones even pull. The roach survives. This is insane. Nobody should be able to survive from here. Nobody should be able to survive from here. Mother friggin' REYNOR, how did you hold that attack? He just held a tsunami. You know what happened, guys? Literally, he was on the beach making a sandcastle with one of those little fucking spade thingies. Everybody else went, fuck, tsunami, ran away. You know what REYNOR did? He just quickly made a little wall. He made a little wall, a fucking sandcastle wall on the beach, and then somehow just stopped a tsunami. I don't even know. He's like, I have an Evo and a Baneling nest, kind of creating an almost wall. Like, he had 3 queens and like 4 zerglings, and he defended like 10 roaches in a flood of Ling Bane. How the shit did he do that? How many drones did he lose? Wait. He was already at 10 drones down, wasn't he? Did he lose 3 drones in that attack? And that means he kept up the economy advantage that whole time, even though Dark had an extra expansion. Because Dark lost all those drones, he's undersaturated. These bases are not mining efficiently. This is disgusting. This is actually ridiculous. REYNOR's hold there, that was something only REYNOR could do. Only a REYNOR or Dark type player would be able to defend that. And yet he managed to do it somehow. He's now going roach speed +1, so he's got the tech advantage. This lair is beyond late for Dark. Now, the advantage of the third base comes in here. Because your main is oversaturated, having a third mineral line to spread workers to is great. That being said, REYNOR's about to get his third as well. It's still even on workers. He's going to wall off here is REYNOR, making a few Banelings just for safety against this giant pack of Zerglings. Fair enough. And he's going +1 range slightly ahead of Dark. He's got a Spire on the way, and a second Evo not just completes the wall off, but that's also going to give him the ability to make Carapace along with +2 range if he wants to go that direction. Gases go down on the third. REYNOR still up, just a handful of workers. Both players trying to drone up. I don't think Dark is dead by any means, but keep in mind that REYNOR's Carapace upgrade finished, guys. That actually helped him out a fair bit in these previous fights as well, and definitely made a difference in this game. I mean, when REYNOR lost his third base for the second time, I thought he was effed, but really does well. Now, Dark does come in and... Oh, REYNOR! Big mistake for REYNOR. Lets his Spire get scouted. Now, I think as Dark, it's pretty clear that you just need to play a macro game from here. I don't think you can hit a timing, because you're equal roaches. He's going to drop a Hydra Den. Ooh, no. Okay, so Dark here, following some NA logic. We always shit on NA players for doing things that are inefficient. Going Hydras versus Mutas is some noob shit. Yeah, it's a small map. There's an argument behind doing this as a timing attack, and it can work out. But and he's pulling back all of his Overlords, so they can't get any free kills, which is fantastic. Scouting it early means he's going to take very little damage to these Mutas. I mean, it's okay to build a few Hydras. The problem is they're so expensive. I think you're much better off just turtling up, adding a few Queens and Spores as needed, and working your way up towards Lurker Viper. Maybe get a few Infestors out, but I think against a Roach Muta style, there's no real reason to. I think you need to make sure you stay heavy on your units. Now, he's going to add a Lair Tech Lurkers. So Dark here. He's going to go Lair Tech Lurkers. Now, this is some real NA shit. For those who don't know, Lurkers normally considered a bad unit at Lair Tech. But I would say here in Zerg vs. Zerg, that's a little bit different, right? If you're playing against Immortals, Siege Tanks, Marauders, these units are much better at killing lurkers, whereas Zerg Roaches are very short-ranged, clumpy units with low damage. So even lair tech lurkers with 8 range rather than 10 range that are much slower to siege and unsiege, I think they do okay there. And they can still dodge corrosive biles if you're very quick at burrowing and unburrowing them. It is just mass Roach Ravager for REYNOR right now. The mutas do not find this Ling run by. We've got 58 workers to 57. And dude, the Hydras and the lurkers are starting to build up. Obviously, Dark did want to skimp on the spores, so we just built one in each base, but REYNOR, with the muta map control, does get the pleasure of taking the 4th base, and that puts pressure on Dark. Now, the muta's going to see these lurkers. Don't quite manage to get that lurker. Could kill this one Hydralisk potentially, but he's going to lose a muta there. Does lose it, gets a Hydralisk though. He's going to push forward. Okay, seeing the lurkers, this is very wise. REYNOR says, I can't let those lurkers run forward and siege at my base, so I've got to keep him pinned back. And who knows, maybe if I land some corrosive biles just right, will be good. But look at these spores. The spores make it very hard to fly your detection in to spot those lurkers. Infestation Pit goes down for both sides. That's going to enable Hive Tech and, of course, the Vipers to come out. Zergling run by finally is taken off the map. Roaches run in, trying to spread those biles. So for REYNOR, it's trying to figure out where these lurkers are and drop biles on them. I wouldn't mind him opening these rocks up here. Looks like he is going to go and do that. And he can transfer over to that 4th base. He's already up 7 workers, and he has an extra base up. Tunneling Claws is going to come in for Dark. Okay, that's very cute here. Dark, very confident these lurkers can hold this choke point. I would be as well. And you can see, even without Adaptive Talons, not too hard to dodge Corrosive Bile. Does take about a second, 2-3 seconds from casting for it to actually land. It's not like dodging a bullet. You don't need to be Neo from the Matrix to dodge corrosive biles. You can be Susan from marketing, and you'll still, as long as you've had a coffee that morning, you're probably going to be able to dodge a corrosive bile. We've got some roaches and banelings on the left side looking for a bit of a run by. Hive is on the way. Dark is just going to play that late game from here, using the lurkers as a survival unit. Good dodge there. Definitely would love a bit more transfuse. Oh, REYNOR tried to run forward and get it as it was reburrowing, but it survives with 3 hit points. Ow. Running into the choke point is so scary because the lurker splash can do so much damage. But remember, 8 range lurkers, not 10 range lurkers, guys. That's why REYNOR's so confident running in so deep. And honestly, a lot of people think, okay, we're playing Lurker Viper at this point. Guys, we are nowhere near Lurker Viper. Dark does not have a lot of money, and neither does REYNOR. REYNOR has more money, but what REYNOR's going to do here is something that's very common. Oh, he gets a kill on the 4th base. That squad sitting down there, very good at denying the bases. So he's going to just add Vipers. In this scenario, as REYNOR, you want to build like 6 Vipers the moment your Hive's done, and if you just cover all the Lurkers in blinding clouds of ducks, get rid of them, it just becomes a roach fight, right? So Roach Ravager, one of the best things you can do if you get a really quick Hive, just make a whole bunch of Vipers, and even if they've got Lurkers and you don't, you can then slowly tech to Lurkers behind the Vipers and do it that way. But he's got to get those Vipers started. REYNOR, your Hive's finished. Got to get a move on, mate. He's trying to take a 5th base. That goes down as well. Both of them losing a hatchery the moment it goes down. Very frustrating for both players. Overlord speed's on the way. That will allow the roaches to hunt the opponent down. Muta's being annoying there. Roach Ravager on the left side. Not going to be able to go in. These roaches should get hunted down as long as REYNOR stays on point. And only 3 Vipers. You've got so much gas, but I guess he's a bit supply capped. And here we go. Okay, he's finally going to trap Dark's roaches. Take down most of these. Does try to surround them. And does get a lot of them, but oh, Roach run by. Dark goes for a dive. Spinecrawler will come up, but Spinecrawler on a handful of roaches not going to be good enough to handle such a big attack of Dark. Dark splitting his roaches up, some running into the main. These ones going to run off to the left side. Should be able to deny that base very nicely. Roaches on that side. Looks like they killed a lurker, but they have to back off. Roaches have already taken out 4 workers. He's got some in the main that are doing a lot more damage. A shame those guys didn't burrow because they could have stayed alive there. Roaches on the left cancel the 5th, but they do get hunted down a little. Roaches here, burrowing, moving, and splitting him up. Overseers are about to finish though, so I think these roaches should get caught. He's just going to hide him. At least make REYNOR spend a bunch of time hunting to catch these units. And who knows, maybe he catches those 2 but doesn't catch the other 2. REYNOR once again going to find a 4th base, trying to go down Dark with way less mining. Once again, at least he cancels that base. And look at this, you can see REYNOR circling the main base, checking all of the edges, and he does catch those 2 roaches. Very nicely done. Still more roaches on the left side. Could come in there. There is a spore and a spine. The beginnings of a defense. More roaches on the right side as well. Also a spore and a spine. Makes it much harder for you to do this kind of low number of roach harass effectively, as you've got to actually target fire. The spine will eventually kill you if you don't watch out. And yet again, denying the 4th base up here. REYNOR is just like, you can't take a 4th, you dickhead. I saw what you did in the last game. I'm not letting it happen again. No, never again. But oh no, 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 the Lurker Roach is gonna catch him. Oh no, REYNOR! He thought he had him contained on both sides, but he forgot to watch the middle. He doesn't see this push. And Dark with an opportunistic strike. He's got seismic spines and adaptive talons. And oh my god, he says, hey dickhead, you can deny my 4th base all you want. I have 16 Lurkers. And oh no, REYNOR. There's a spot of bother, and then there's Dicktown. This is not a spot of bother. This is Dicktown. And Dark, an expert at forcibly taking his opponents there. Oh, this is just a brutal, brutal attack from Dark. Gets right up in the guts of the economy. Uh-oh, those Lurkers might go down. The Spore Crawler can see 2 of them. They do fall, but the other ones are out of detection range. These Lurkers are finally getting blinding clouded and abducted, but this has cost REYNOR so much. Is it going to be a good enough hold? The final tail of the hold is actually fantastic. That final part of the hold was a very nice fight. The question is, has he already taken too much economic damage? And I think the answer is yes. Dark is going to scramble home with whatever roaches he can save, but he's already killed 41 workers. He's killed the 3rd. He's killed the natural. And REYNOR right now, licking his wounds. He's trying to build more Roach Ravager. I think he needs to hold the drone key down, guys. I think if he holds the drone key down, maybe he can get his economy back up. But look, he's still building Roach and Mass Ravager. He says, I know you didn't have a big bank behind that because I've kept you off for 4th all game long. REYNOR is going to go across the map. Now, he doesn't see this 4th base going up on the left side. That Overlord just slightly mispositioned there. He does see that there's no hatchery on the top. He's going to come forward and try to break him. Look at this, though. Dark's got a lovely spready of Lurkers. You can see they're nicely spaced in a line. Viper's going to come in. There's a lot of spores, though. And the Overseer doesn't quite get in range. Do you see that? Dark pulled his Lurkers back because he knew what REYNOR was going for. He knew if his Lurkers were in vision, they would get abducted and then he'd get broken. But he shuffles the Lurkers back way behind the spores. And look at this. Now REYNOR just abducting like roaches and hydras and random units like that. He's going to go up the top side. Mutas should be able to deny that base. Dark, desperate for money. He's only got 4 mineral patches there, 5 mineral patches there, and only so much gas left. Down 20 supply, but he's up 25 workers. REYNOR slowly redroning. He's going roaches, drones, roaches, and drones. Still has not rebuilt his natural nor transferred drones off that base. He's continuing to pressure on the front. REYNOR, he's got to build workers here. I don't think he's going to break Dark, but he's playing as if he's just saying, no, I'll just win with Roach Ravager Viper. I'll just contain you. But he's got to realize that there's a base up on the other side, and he doesn't. REYNOR thinks he has Dark pinned, mining his last resources. Oh, that was a beautiful pair of abducts. At this point, yeah, you got to be careful. This Overseer shuffling from REYNOR is so good. And notice Dark, he respects it. He pulls back just slightly with those Lurkers, just slightly out of range. At this point, REYNOR can kill the hatchery with Bile without actually exposing himself. He has 12, 13, 14 corrosive Biles available. 2 rounds of Biles on that hatchery, and it's dead. I'd love to see REYNOR just Bile this hatchery down at this point. Spore Crawler does shuffle forward. Overseer. Oh, nice abducts from Dark. Grabs a few Ravagers and the forward Overseer. Roach is going to try to come in and... Oh my god, they find a squad of Muta Roach Overseer right in position. Absolutely random. 4th base is up, though. REYNOR's finally trying to realize. He's like, oh, I should check this. Oh, wait, what? There's creep spread here? And he didn't realize for so goddamn long. Not noticing this base was an absolute disaster because, guys, he did not re-drone. He could have re-droned in this time. But REYNOR was saying, no, 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 no. If I give you space to re-expand, that's going to be bad for me. I instead will just commit to fighting right here, right now. As long as I don't let you retake a 4th base, I will win this game. And yet he let a 4th go up right in front of him. And his Overlord just didn't barely have vision until the creep spread out. Now we see REYNOR plan B. Let's drone up and play late game. But he's just not there. He's just not there. Oh, Hydra Den and Roach Warren have almost gone down as well. Needs to rebuild a Lurker Den at this stage of the game. These are both very low right now. This is getting really dicey. Both players are at equal worker count. Dark has a 4th base. Dark has 13 Lurkers. But REYNOR has a lot more Vipers. The problem for REYNOR is he has no way to shoot up. All he's got is his Mutas right now. He desperately needs Hydras. So you can see he's making muscular augments right now. He does realize, actually, that this is dying. And the Overlord say, no worries, buddy. This is the one biological situation where your buddy doing a shit on you is actually a sign of friendship, love, and care. What can I say? Abatha is a sick puppy. Just think of this as if you get stung by a jellyfish and your dad pees on your leg. And you're like, thanks, Dad. It's the rare case. It's the, it doesn't happen a lot, but that does provide creep and nourishment for those buildings. Roach is starting to take down some drones here. Ooh, that's a juicy run by. That is no Spore and Spine on this base. And look at that. +3 Roaches. Focus firing. They take out 8 drones there. Very crucial when you're on such low economies. The Mutas are still alive. Does grab a couple of drones. Very nicely done. 3 drones go down. Make it 4. Oh, that's very nice for REYNOR. Going to get a bit of counter damage. Dark's economy still very small, but he's on 16 lurkers. And we still do not see a lurker den for REYNOR. And the problem is just that lurker damage is so explosive. Blinding Cloud is good, but REYNOR's playing a very dangerous game. By playing Roach Ravager, Hydra, Viper, and just going super heavy on the Vipers, he's saying, I will go 13 Vipers, and I will just Blinding Cloud everything, and you'll never get a spell off. And this can work, but if he messes up even a little and Dark gets 1 or 2 big volleys off, his whole army will crumble. Ravagers and Hydras disappear against Lurkers, as do Roaches. All of these units just disappear. So I feel like technically, if you play perfectly, REYNOR's army may be better because it's just got such Viper superiority, and with the Hydras, he can gun down the enemy Vipers and pick them off. But he should still be getting the Lurker Den, because even just a few Lurkers to back you up can be big. And oh, Chad Roach! Chad Roach kills the Hydra Den there. Lurker Den does go down just before that, and he does rebuild the Hydra Den here as well. But that Chad Roach, that is literally Dark himself, wearing a Roach suit. He's done that thing in Dungeon Keeper where you possess one of your soldiers and you get to play the kind of top-down RTS style game in first-person view and lead your little Roachies on an attack. But because he's such a maverick, he doesn't even tell everyone to follow him. He just fucking runs in solo, snipes a Hydra Den and pisses off. That's some cool shit right there. But still very low on the Hydras, and I think that's what he's missing. I think Dark needs some more Hydralists so we can punish the Vipers of REYNOR. And even though I think REYNOR letting this base get up seemed like a disaster, his own economy is absolutely roaring, setting up some run-bys. He's got a big Roach Ravager Viper attack that could come in. I think honestly, Blinding Cloud, the Spores, is going to be the way to do this. He's pushing them back. That allows the Overseer to move forward. And if the Overseer can get vision, he can just abduct all these units. The Mutas run in and die. Okay, REYNOR's got to shuffle this Overseer forward. He wants to move it there. And Dark, he should really be abducting the Overseer a bit more. I think that really stalls out these attacks. So I'd love to see him do that. 3-2 Seismic Spines on the way. I'd like to see Adaptive Talons. And indeed, yes, it is queued up behind that. Right now, though, REYNOR, I think what's promising is it appears he's playing more patiently. On the other hand, I do want to see him picking away at Dark more methodically. And there's just part of me that's worried that it's so against REYNOR's natural state, right? It's like someone who's they're like naturally, you know, a really fast-paced player, and they're trying to force themselves to play this slow style. And it's like, mate, not, you know, that style's not for everyone, but he's in this situation where he kind of has to play it here. And oh, here we go. Here we go. Dark's going for the push again. REYNOR a little too slow to spot this, but okay, he does manage to intercept it. 22 Lurkers versus 0. This is scary. Just how good is Blinding Cloud, guys? We are about to find out just how good is Blinding Cloud. Now, REYNOR needs to get up here. He cannot let this army into his bases. Roaches run in for a run by. They will go down. He's still on mostly Ravagers. Ravagers are one of the least supply-efficient units in the game at 3 supply each. He's also up 30 workers. So REYNOR's army supply is not that good. Where's his Hydra count? Guys, why has he not got Hydras? He was floating money there, nowhere near max. He throws some Roaches away. But look at this. Dark just shoves up in between the rallies. And once again, round 2 of taste my Lurkers. And REYNOR, he feels that little bit of taste of sick in the back of his throat. And he realizes, yeah, he built an economy, but he just took way too long to get his own Lurkers up. He didn't get a ball of Hydras. He needed to be aggressively intercepting that army, abducting the units, blinding clouding the units, and fighting it head on and trying to find a way to remax. But look at this, Lurkers, Roaches, Hydras in every base. His tech is going down. His army on the left, he does get some Lurkers up. He tries to defend, but the parasitic bombs, even the small number of Vipers say, hey, as long as we are used in the perfect manner, it doesn't matter if we're outnumbered. We've got more Lurkers and more Vipers on the ground. And Dark, the Lurker, Hydra, Viper King, once again is like, hey, REYNOR, I thought you were good at this game, dickhead. And he absolutely smashes a REYNOR who has the advantage, who has the map control. And that map control apparently not worth all that much. Let's go back really quickly because I want to appreciate this stage, guys, where he runs in and he's already thinking about the next step. REYNOR hides 2 Zerglings off in the side to come in for a follow-up Baneling attack. And what does he defend? At this moment, guys, we have 7 Roaches, 3 Banelings about to morph, and 18 Zerglings up against REYNOR, who has 3 Queens and a Baneling. Oh, sorry, he's got 2 more Banelings there. So 3 Queens and 3 Banelings. REYNOR is on... He was on equal economy, but down a base. So this Lings and then the Banelings are going to put him back in a good position, right, economically. But army-wise, he's got nothing. That being said, he has a Roach and a lot of Zerglings about to pop. So he's got some units about to pop, but he can't let the Banelings hit his Zerglings, and he's got to stall for time. Now, what's so good here is this Zergling run by coming in here. This is going to force Dark to keep looking at home, and Dark was worried about getting his Roaches surrounded because these Banelings are late, which is why he pulls back into the choke point. But he does lose a Roach, and another Roach, and the Banelings are still not in there. These Banelings need to get in there. And it looks like 11 workers went down just to the Zerglings, guys. So these Banelings do get caught by a Roach. Good handling by Dark. I didn't catch that, so I wanted to go back and check that. The Banelings roll on in, but they don't quite get the kills. Imagine if just 1 or 2 more Banes came in here. Go, 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 go over there. But the Roaches are the Queens. They managed to barely deflect it. And it's just insane. I do think Dark was a bit slow moving into the choke point. And obviously his reinforcement was delayed by REYNOR's counterattack, but it's just such a scary attack arriving when he had so few units to defend, and REYNOR just scrambles together a defense, keeps all of his workers alive, and even though he's 2 base versus 3 base, he's got a lair, he's got carapace, and he's up in workers. If Dark had 45 workers, the 3rd base would actually mean something, but he's only on 35 after losing those 11 drones. He comes in with round 2 of the attack, and you can see his Lings, his Roaches trying to do what they can. If he had a few Banelings once again, hitting the drones would be big, but so consistently was REYNOR sniping them down that Dark shoves in here, and look at this, the drones join the fight. But notice, the drones only join the fight once the Roaches and Lings are all attacking his tanky units, his Roaches. He doesn't just A-move his drones and lose them all at the start of the fight. He adds them as a bit of extra damage, a bit of tanking. And whenever it looks like the fight's salvageable and he might win, he puts the drones back on mining and says, okay, I think I can barely hold. Don't need to fight with the drones, let's do this. And that Roach there, on that right side, lures the Zerglings around on a merry chase, pulls the drones to help survive. I mean, this is just beautiful execution and scramble by REYNOR. We can definitely argue that Dark should have transitioned out of this push by now and started, injecting and building drones. But you can see he's only on 1 queen. He lost queens to the Zergling run by as well. Dark felt more and more pressure to go all in here. And as a result, he did give up that advantage. But in the end of the day, despite REYNOR actually getting a little bit of a lead in the near future from here, Dark ends up bringing it back, gets the 2-1 lead. Epic, epic play by Dark. All right, guys, down here in the bottom left side in the blue, we're going into game 4. He just needs 1 more game to finish it off. Some impressive comebacks so far. Is he going to stick with the turtle style? The early game aggression hasn't quite been able to find the mark. Does he try once more for an early Lingbane Roach rush? Let's see. This is Dark. I wouldn't mind him rushing Mutalisks in one form or another in this game. His opponent in the top right side in the red, REYNOR. Now, it's going to be hatch first for both players, most likely. Very rare to see a pool first on such a long map. Number 1, 12 pool is not that strong here, so you don't really need the safety. Number 2, any Zergling pressure you do off a pool first isn't usually going to find a massive amount of damage. So it's kind of hard to get on in there and commit to that. For now, though, hatch gas pool. Now, Dark does have the advantage spawn because you can see his drones spawning at the bottom of the hatchery, closer to the minerals. REYNORs have to walk an extra half a second, which means REYNOR already down 15 minerals. Massive. Game-changing. Game-changing. Not really. It makes very little difference. It is one of the few technical spawn advantages in StarCraft, playing white or black in chess sort of similarity. And that's interesting. So REYNOR building it here to block spine crawlers being built if there is a 12 pool. Dark going with the more standard, hey, I can put a queen here and this walls off my mineral line. So Lingbane has to go around that way or around this way, which of course can be walled off at a later date if needed. Hatchery is there. Now, REYNOR, I mean, that last game was what? Lingbane just clashing over the 3rd base options for both players. And then it just went into carapace for REYNOR, and Dark went for more of the fast Roach aggression. I feel like Dark has used up his aggressive Roach card, and it hasn't really paid off. Even though he's up 2-1, I think REYNOR's been getting the better end of every single early game. Dark is one of the best early and mid-game guys. He's so powerful at just the early stages, and anytime there's a mechanical dance where you're both kind of microing your units and seeing who can, engage the other a little bit better, a little more efficiently. REYNOR's insane at that, and it hasn't worked out that well for Dark. This is also a giant map. So, 3rd base is going to go down for REYNOR, sends that drone out the front. Looks like Dark's going to go for the same. Both of them want the triangular third base. Not a bad choice. And REYNOR's Zerglings actually pull back to defend. Interesting. So he's not focusing on scouting. He's focusing on defending from these Zerglings. He doesn't want to have to build extra Zerglings. His queen at the front. The Zerglings of Dark. They could just run straight past that. Not the best positioning on that queen for REYNOR. But they do decide to pull back for it now. Third queen on the way here for Dark very early. Both sides go for a Baneling Nest. Dark's a little bit later, which means if there was to be a whole bunch of Lings in production in a moment for REYNOR with these injects popping, then he could cancel the third most likely. But no, more drones for now. At Overlord pops, we see a third queen for REYNOR start up. Both players are playing a macro game so far. One worker is off gas for REYNOR. Dark still got a full 3 mining. Does make it a bit easier for him to start a lair and work his way towards Spire if he chooses to do so. Evo Chamber in the natural for REYNOR. Dark going to put a creep tumor down in the front. Now that's far enough forward that he can put an Evo behind it and still get the wall off. Much later Evo for Dark. There we go. It does go down. Okay, this is interesting to see where these guys go at this point because, yeah, I mean, REYNOR's got to be a little frustrated. It's really got to be frustrating because he's definitely had a big advantage, a situation which most pro players, especially someone as good as REYNOR, will think of that as, I really should have won from there. He starts Carapace again. Interesting. Okay, so REYNOR enjoying the Carapace style. Usually that is going to be a big committed Roachling push. Doesn't have to be. Definitely heads in that direction. Lair, second gas goes down. Roach Warrant +1. If Dark does go for Spire here, which I do expect, it'll be Roach Muter. Similar to what REYNOR did in the last game. It will not be Zergling Baneling Muter because he's going for the range upgrades. And the Roach Warrens at a pretty decent time as well. Though you could argue that's still just a fake. Ling for Dark is going to move around the left side. With the Carapace upgrade, it's very unlikely REYNOR goes for Muters. If he does, it'll be much later. Because, of course, he does not have a lair started. 150 gas spent on a Carapace upgrade is huge. Now, he is building up to over 50 workers, though. And that's a very high worker count to be doing a Roach push. And yet he is doing that Roach push. He's got Overlords popping. He's got 6 Roaches on the way. And they're gonna pop out and move across. So they're going to hit just after Carapace finishes. REYNOR missing an inject in the main and the natural right now. REYNOR, got to fix that shit, dog. There we go. Does inject the main. Does inject the natural. 3 Banelings on the way. Where are they? Okay, so he morphs some Banelings at home as Zergling pressure comes out for Dark. Dark's going Roach speed +1. He's only on 48 workers is Dark, and yet he's already building mass Roach. So Dark, it appears Dark is going to be trying to just do a big all-in, right? 48 drones is so low to be doing a Roach all-in, and you know what? Against a guy who's moving out with Roaches, that's perfect. This is perfect for Dark. He should be able to defend the third base because he's down on workers. Yes, he's gone ahead on the tech. He's a little slower to the Roach production, but he should be able to hang on here. These drones are taking a bit of damage. Oh, nice focus there by REYNOR to take that down. Dark, though, get those Zerglings back. He's got to hang on to this base. The spine's not quite finished, but as the Roaches do come on out, his +1 in Roach speed, seconds away from finishing. Carapace is actually not quite done as this fight starts for REYNOR, but REYNOR, I think he's got to get out of there, man. There's still Banelings here to push back his Zerglings, and as I said, REYNOR is completely stopped in his tracks. Dark with a fantastic hold. He should chase. Dark should absolutely chase him down right now. Dark lacking killer instinct. How rare. He should have chased these Roaches straight across the map. Right now, guys, REYNOR is massively down on units. He was droning during that. He's up 20 workers. Now, Dark is going to go for a Nidus Worm, but why not chase him down already? He really could have done it because the problem here, I think Dark is like, well, I pushed back an attack. Now, if I Nidus, I win the game. And this could definitely work, but I don't know, man. It feels like REYNOR has just gotten away with some epic greed. And look at this, it's 24 Roaches versus 11. You've got Roach speed and +1 advantage this whole time. It would be such a good moment to fight. Queen in the wall, she's very low, but good defense so far by Dark. Dark's going to move forward. Time to try and get a Nidus Worm in the main base. REYNOR's Overlords get there at this point, and he does see this. This is the moment where you've got to have Overlords in the main when a Nidus Worm could be coming up. Goes up in the main base. There are Roaches immediately responding for REYNOR. Oh, that's such a quick response for him. Roaches on the front coming forward. He's going to try and push up, but you know what? I think he has the numbers. I do think Dark can take this fight. Even though it's an awkward angle where there's a great firing arc, REYNOR pulling his Roaches together. Has Dark taken too long to counterattack across this map? He's been sitting on 48 workers for such a long time. REYNOR Even though his earlier push failed, he has now, looks like, stalled this attack out. He's got a few roaches and queens in the main, more units popping out here. This ramp is such a shitty angle to push. Spines are moving forward. This is not breakable if those spines get rooted. Dark is going to try and get through before the spines are up, dodging the biles, but he's got to pull back. Dark, unable to break REYNOR, and REYNOR has just outmassed Dark. Put him on the back foot with the pressure. Didn't really do any damage. But Dark needed to capitalize and counterattack right then. There was such a narrow window. And this is the thing, when you're playing against a guy who's as fast as REYNOR, who's hitting his injects and his macro perfectly behind his push, you've got to immediately counter push with +1. Dark missed that opportunity. He said, no, I'll mass up a little more, hit with the Nidus Worm. It'll be an even more surprising and sudden counterattack. He misjudged it. He thought REYNOR was rallying more into that attack on him, whereas he wasn't. REYNOR was doing it almost like a fake carapace attack. It was like here's a bunch of roaches and lings, a couple of banes, but he wasn't committing to it. REYNOR was doing almost like a fake out, and I think Dark treated it as if the whole time REYNOR was rallying mass Zerglings and trying to kill him. He was not. It was a pressure, a heavy pressure from REYNOR, but Dark treated it like an all-in. He felt like, yep, there's going to be a few minutes until you actually catch up in army. Let's just get the Nidus, go for it, and this was the wrong decision. He's now going to go for a Hail Mary Spire, a good choice when you are behind. However, look at the army supply and you can see that he's far, far behind. Thankfully for him, the roach speed is very late for REYNOR, but REYNOR's pushing out pre-roach speed. That's very bad for Dark. You do not want to get pushed right now. REYNOR, does he bile? Nah, nice dodge. Good dodge there on the Overlord. The Overseer does see that this third base is fully saturated. Dark right now is down in work as he's trying to get his 6 Mutalisks out. They're not ready just yet. He needs to be building spines, roaches, anything he can to hang on. The army advantage is monstrous. 32 combined units of roaches and ravagers versus 58. REYNOR at 140 army supply to 95. This is absolutely disgusting. This army is huge. Roach speed is coming in. 2-2 will not be able to finish for REYNOR. He does have a carapace upgrade, which, remember, weakens the Mutalisk significantly. Those Mutas are going to run forward. They need to start working on these roaches, especially the Ravagers. Notice he targets the Ravagers, immediately does Dark. He's going to try and hang on and stall out this advance, but that is a giant army. Notice these defensive biles. Great placement by Dark, the way he placed those biles, and lands a big one there. In fact, REYNOR shoving on forward, Dark trying to pull back the Mutas. What are you doing with your Mutas, Dark? Accidentally clicks his Mutas across the map for a moment there. A little bit of a mistake there. I don't think it would have made a difference, though, because these roaches are definitely going to crack on through. Evo Chamber in the wall would be a good way to buy a few seconds here. You've got to stop these roaches getting in your base. More roaches are coming out. Dark's got to pull back, though. He's running into the choke point. He's trying to get out there, but it means his roaches are kind of stuck behind each other. Mutas going after these. The drones are on Exodus. They've got to run back to the natural. They are trying to evacuate, but REYNOR, relentless. If he can get a few more drones, this might be worth it. His army is going to get cleaned up eventually, though. He's only killed 8 drones so far. Make it 9. Does he get a 10th? Yes, he does. 10, 11 workers do go down. My God, there's just so few units for Dark. Even just 1 or 2 roaches. Get 3 or 4 more drones there. But at the end of it, REYNOR does have a 4th base. He's got, most importantly, 2-2. And that is frightening because +2 carapace versus +0 mutas. The mutas are worthless versus the roaches, guys. They will not do damage. The first bounce each bounce does 33% damage, 1/3. So the first bounce does 3 damage and then 1 damage. If you knock 2 off both of those, guess what? They become 1 damage bounces. The Mutalisk splash damage has been completely nerfed. You add Hydras in there with 2-2, and they will take the Mutalisks. 1 Hydra could take on 3 Mutas with these upgrades. This is not a fair fight. The Muta's just going to try and pick off Roaches away from the other units. He's got to catch up on the Roaches at home. He's currently up to 10 Roaches, 7 Ravagers making. Can he get the defense together? The Ravagers are a very good idea. Dark has to buy time for himself, but REYNOR is not waiting. He is committing to the Hydras as a big old attack. He does not have grooved spines. He's got a bit of a smooth spine Hydralisk force here, but he's got muscular augments, and that's all right. As long as they got those strong muscular legs, they will be able to push in here. The Roach Hydra tries to come on forward. The Roach Ravager of Dark trying to spread the biles across to stall the advance, but he's got to pull back. He's got to disengage. He cannot stand and trade with that much Hydra damage output, and REYNOR there just overwhelms and capitalizes. A beautiful play by him. And we've got to go back once more, guys, to that first big push on the 3rd. How did Dark misread this? This attack, a Carapace Roachling attack, is so scary. It's something that Dark does a lot and he's a connoisseur of. It's so powerful. But keep in mind, he did it off 52 drones. So REYNOR did this off 52. Dark often does this off maximum 48, sometimes 44 or 45 workers. So already, REYNOR's starting from a higher worker count than you would expect seeing this attack. Second of all, yes, he rallies some Zerglings. So he goes 8 Roaches, 4-5 Banelings, and 30 Zerglings. And then he just goes straight back to droning and even building Queens. I'm not sure about the Queens. That's kind of surprising to me. It's almost like he expected to be running into Mutas here as the follow-up. But the fact is, even before the attack hits, REYNOR is already stopped reinforcing. And this is the difference between these two players. What have we seen? Every one of Dark's Roach Bane attacks has been done off a lower worker count. It's been a crisp, sharp attack, looking to catch your opponent off guard, and it has been non-stop reinforced through the entire duration of the push. Often, like we saw in Berlingrad, even gathering up forces for round 2 of the same attack, trying to kill his opponent. What we're seeing here is REYNOR who's going, I'm going to do a bit of a pressure here. Grab some Roaches, 30 Zerglings, 8 Roaches, a couple Banelings, see what we can do with Carapace. But he's already droning behind it. So I think Dark here misread this, and maybe something to do with the timing. Maybe he should have said, oh, if this was actually committed, it would have hit 30 seconds earlier. He obviously is lacking a little bit of Overlord vision as well. I really wish he had an Overlord in the middle, so maybe he doesn't quite realize that there's no reinforce after a little while. But I do think it still was good for Dark. If Dark simply holds the Roach key down and counterattacks, he's got Banelings to defend the Zerglings. His Roaches should absolutely hunt the Roaches down. And you've got Banelings, so split your Banelings. 2 go with your Roaches, you hunt this down, go straight across the map. Because what's REYNOR doing right now, guys? It's the same thing REYNOR always does, especially versus Serral. He throws an attack at Serral, it gets absolutely shut down, and then he drones greedier than you would ever expect anyone to drone. In this scenario, if this was Dark, he'd already have gone back to Roach production and be thinking about how do I survive the counterattack. REYNOR doesn't think about that. REYNOR is a risk taker, he is a gambler, and he's always happy to spin the roulette wheel when he's playing Zerg versus Zerg. So in this case, look at the friggin' greed. He's already going to 66 workers, and only now does he start building extra Roaches. If he loses those 5 Roaches on the retreat, that means your Roaches are here, killing these Roaches, and you've got what? You've got 18 Roaches right now. Even if you've only got 10 or 12 at the front, if they're running into this base, you're going to get there as the first 6 Roaches of REYNOR pop out. REYNOR's going to have 6 Roaches, 1, 2, 3, 4 Queens with not much transfuse energy. You're going to have 12 Roaches on them, more Roaches behind. And the 90s can come as a second layer of reinforce behind that. But Dark, he over-respected REYNOR's Zerglings a little bit here. I think even just Roaches popping out could have dealt with this many Zerglings. It's not that scary. Obviously, if you leave a few Banelings, that does help. But it was so important for him to immediately counterattack because his advantage is Roach speed, and that means these Roaches should not be able to get home. It means his Roaches should be able to hit him so darn fast. Bit of a mistake for Dark here. REYNOR ties up the series 2-2. Alright guys, let's go. Game 5 to decide this quarterfinals match. Dark in the bottom left, up against the wall. Missed an opportunity in that last game. Build order-wise, it matched up quite well, but just not quick enough to punish the ever-greedy REYNOR. Clash Gaming, powered by a Red Bull, Mr. REYNOR, the young gun. So happy to be back at a live event. He was just brimming with enthusiasm and happiness the whole time, constantly shit-talking everybody as well. I swear, guys, at this event, there was so many times I'd just be hanging out. REYNOR would just like appear from nowhere and just be shit-talking everybody in sight. He was so happy to just be around other humans and just slowly eating away at their ego and making fun of them little by little. It is the best. The absolute best. Great to see it. That hatchback gas pool does go down there for both sides. All right, so REYNOR, yeah, I don't know, man. Game 5, you're both very similar players. They both love Carapace Roach attacks. Do we see Carapace Roach versus Carapace Roach? I mean, that would be kind of wild. Neither player has played a 2-base wall-off style. They just kind of feel like, no, 3-base is the superior way to play in most situations. Obviously, I was talking to Serral about this as well, and he was saying how he does feel like 2-base is just worse unless you have an idea about how your opponent's going to react to the 2-base. Because it's very hard for them to know what the 2-base player is doing, but and kind of be 100% solid versus everything. But usually, like the thing is, they will get ahead on economy, so you really need to kind of know which direction they lean a bit heavier in. Some people prepare more for Mutalisks against a 2-base player. Some people prepare more for the Roach push. Some people don't play safe against Nidus Worm. And if you know that habit of the player, then it's worth going 2-base and doing the quick Nidus Worm and bam, get a nice easy win. Or they under-prepare for Mutas. They always kind of lean towards assuming it's going to be Roaches and bam, you surprise them with Mutas and get some stuff done. But so far, neither player wanting to play that mind game in this series. Where is the third base? There it is. Triangle third for both sides. Going to go for that front one. And the Zerglings for REYNOR once again wanting to defend. Now, neither side has gone for their Baneling Nest just yet. 2 minutes 50 is normally when you want to drop that. There we go. REYNOR's down at 250. 251 for Dark. Dark does start the third queen very early on that natural. But you can see REYNOR, instead of using those minerals to get 3 workers out earlier, I do prefer the extra drones early wherever possible. And I think he'll start his own third queen on 36 supply or so. And actually another double inject before Creep Tumor. So he's really wanting to hit that economy. I guess Dark does do the same as well. Yeah, actually the guys are so focused on injects, right? Because of the Zerglings, very intensive, droning, very, very lava intensive. We don't really see the early Creep Tumors. That's also though why players have been getting their third bases sniped at really high level a lot more recently than they used to, as link speed kicks in, and neither side has morphed any Banelings preemptively. They want to do it reactively, so the moment they see Lings flood out, that's when they want to build it. And a little wall off of Zerglings there, very cute for REYNOR. He will pursue with 2 Zerglings of his own, and immediately into Carapace once again. I said, hey, are we going to do it again? Dark accidentally starts Burrow, and this Zergling does get into the base. Dark's hunting for it. Zergling will go down. That's already a second gas here for Dark. Now that's fascinating. What's the second gas for? He goes +1 range. Dark really enjoying this quick second gas. I mean, it does give him a bit more tech flexibility, but REYNOR's going to just go Roach Warren into second and third gas geyser just a little bit later. Just going to be a bit more mineral focused early on. Triple gas so you can support Roach production. Usually a very good idea. There's a few more Zerglings coming out for REYNOR. Dark not really building anything right now, but... Okay, so sorry, Dark is building 14 Zerglings, never mind. He's going to go for a little bit of a Ling pressure. Try and put on just a little bit. So what is that? 19, about 20 Zerglings. He's building more! Okay, Dark's doing a Dark, guys. A super fucking random Ling Bane timing. 40 drone Ling Bane pressure on the third. He's hoping to catch a REYNOR who's like, oh, this isn't a real attack. It's too late. And he's hoping to just catch him out. So he's going to put on a lot of pressure here. Will he find the damage? Lots of Banelings made preemptively. REYNOR sends his Zerglings for the counterattack. A great choice here. That'll pull the attention away. A Baneling does find the worker line. If he can get Zerglings in there, that would be huge. He sends just 2 to start. He gets 1 drone, 2 drones, almost gets a third. 3 drones in total have fallen. REYNOR gets a nice little run by Baneling though, plus the Queen should be able to defend that. And the Zergling's not going to get any much more done. Roach production has now started for Dark, but he's only on 2 gases and he's down 4 workers. So he's building a handful of Roaches right now. But REYNOR cancelled Carapace to make the Banelings. Oh, so actually, because he saw those Lings flooding out and he was so low on gas, having made his lair and his Carapace, REYNOR cancelled Carapace to make this extra Banelings. So he really did respect that push. So, Dark did get some damage out of that by slowing down the upgrades, but he did start +1 soon after, so it's still very similarly timed upgrades. Banelings morphing in the mineral line. This is what you do when you think your opponent's a fucking baboon who doesn't know how to A-move their drones. REYNOR passes the baboon test and does actually clear up those Banelings, even blows up some of his own Banelings on it. REYNOR confirmed not a monkey. Dark there, a surprising maneuver. I think in a more chaotic situation, that makes sense, but if he had Zerglings in the main, the third at the same time, I would have liked it a little bit more. Spire does go down immediately here for Dark. Dark's up 7 workers. Dark's in the lead. He's up in workers. He's up on the Spire. Yeah, it's equal Roach count. This feels fantastic for Dark. Supply count, of course, does not lie. Does tell us that REYNOR's a little ahead there, and he will catch up on the workers in the near future, but I feel like REYNOR might go Spire of his own here and just not realize he's facing Spire. I say that, he's already seen it. He sees the Spire the moment it goes down. I don't like this Spire positioning for this very reason. I also think Dark messed up. He should have had an Overlord down here, especially if you're taking this Spire. You need to see an Overseer before it comes in so you can move Queens down and kill it before it gets back behind your base. Once it's in the back, there's no stopping the scouting, but he lets it get in the back of the base, lets the scout go down, and that tells me, yeah, hold the Roach key down and build a second Evo and go Carapace. Because I think if your Spire's being spotted in this scenario, as Dark, one of the best things you can do is just go for a giant roach timing. Just mass roach, go for carapace, go start doing some burrow tunneling claws. Just don't use the spire, or maybe even cancel it. I mean, canceling it's probably not a good idea because the spire is of course spotted, so we'll know if you cancel it. But maybe just build a few Mutalisks to clean up overlords is not bad. He's going to go for 6. There's no reason to build any more Mutalisks than 6 though, as you know your opponent's already going to be responding well. Now REYNOR, he's got to spread creep to this 4th so we can get spores and queens out to defend. He's already got 7 queens. REYNOR is playing so heavy on the queens. This is fascinating. This seems to be a part of his solid macro play. Remember, in Glittering Ashes, I was saying, why is he building extra queens after his push? I think for REYNOR, it's, look, Dark likes going mutas. He's often going to build mutas at some point. Queens are also, the earlier you get them, they stack up energy. They can mass transfuse your roaches. It's just a good tanky defensive unit. Shoots up, shoots down, heals stuff, only costs minerals, doesn't cost gas. If I just build these every game, defending mutas is so much simpler, so much easier. And I really like this thought process. It's something where I'm always like, nah, queens don't do enough damage. They're shit in a roach battle. I'd rather have more roaches. But when they do get filled with transfuse, they really can turn a fight. Here we go, massive roach move out on the right side. We've got +2 lining up for both players. Neither side able to contaminate to get the flappy Najib on their opponent's Evo chamber. Both sides at identical worker counts, but the Hive is finishing. The Lurker Den is up. REYNOR has the tech. Dark right now, he says, well, you may have passed the baboon test, but I certainly didn't. I'm going to make roaches and I'm going to fucking go. So Dark, he has no follow through on his build, guys. He didn't even go for the tunneling claws that I suggested. Dark is literally maxing on roaches and he's about to do a fucking attack move. This is Dark at his most barbarian. It's game 5. It's where you want to hedge your bets. It's where you want to go Vipers and Lurkers. That's what REYNOR's doing. But Dark is like, me make roach, and go. REYNOR, only half his army's over here. Queens do defend the mutas on the right side. Roaches are going to run in. They could snipe the 4th base. Dark, he's cornering himself a little bit here. He's backing into a corner. That's a very bad positioning. And there's Lurkers here as well, but he will kill the Lurkers very quickly. Well done. He can focus that other Lurker. That would be huge. He is getting completely cornered, though. The tail end of this fight turning very far south. That Lurker, he tried to click it, but he accidentally clicked on the roach that was on top of it. That Lurker got so much damage in there. And Dark, yes, he gets the snipe on the 4th. Yes, he forces a fight. His mutas managed to stop REYNOR from counterattacking, but I mean, we can look at that fight. Let's check the numbers. It definitely looks like way more roaches went down for him. Did kill some Lurkers, but he did lose a lot of units there, did Dark, and it definitely turns the army momentum in favor of REYNOR. Dark, though, has a 4th, and he's got the gases up on it. I mean, he's going for his own Hive and Lurker Den. It's a while until he can really get that tech out, but he's going to start building the gas bank now, which is great preparation. REYNOR's going Lurkers, but you can see without the 4th base gas, he does starve a little bit. So, I mean, that was a very dangerous... When he backed himself into the corner, I feel like Dark should never have backed himself into that corner. He should have stayed here and just tried to fight the army as efficiently as he could, but game 5, you know, sometimes you're tempted to go for that high-risk, high-reward maneuver. And now the mutas are actually doing a great job of just keeping REYNOR's vision back. REYNOR's the one who's a bit more turtled up this game. No Vipers on either side just yet. Lurker Den's coming in. Carapace does kick in here for Dark. So he's up 1 upgrade in that scenario. The gas is going down. Spores, Lurkers, Roaches. REYNOR's in defensive mode. And this time around, it's a bit of a role reversal. It's Dark who's got map control and a little bit more dominance. It's REYNOR who's sitting in his corner saying, fine, I'll make Lurkers and just fucking sit here, bro. So, I mean, Dark has shown he's a much better player in the Lurker Viper than REYNOR, but in both of those scenarios, it was a REYNOR who did not sit back, right? It was a REYNOR who kept taking the fight to him and stepping into his assault. If REYNOR does sit back a little bit more, who is going to be the player who blinks first? Who's going to get impatient and start throwing units into bad fights? Or does that not happen? Do they both just turtle up and try to secure more bases? One thing that REYNOR was missing in the previous scenario was forward spore crawlers. Remember, on Hardwire, he never just... He would often be here, fighting with Hydra Lurker Viper, into Mass Spore Lurker Viper. And why didn't he just spread creep and build his own spores outside Dark Space? Because then you don't need Hydras. You can have more Lurkers, more Vipers. You just use Spore Crawlers, and they do way more damage than Hydras as well. So that's definitely something where if this game goes long enough, I want to see whoever's attacking literally building fortifications outside their opponent's base. Spines, spores, the whole thing, and use those as a way to beef up your supply, to control your opponent, and look for those fights. These roaches are going to run in that Lurker. We'll clean this up eventually, but not before some units go down. Gets a cancel on the left side. Nicely done there. Drones, lots of them will die, but I mean, Roaches aren't free either. I mean, they're not the best late game unit. He actually grabs a lurker on the way out. Slick moves by Mr. Dark. Queens will take out these mutas. He's trying to focus fire. He does get one of them. Doesn't quite get the other one. Roaches do get hunted down on the far left side of the map. Let's open up with that unit's lost tab, guys. Okay, so 12 minutes into this game, we are identical. Technically slightly more efficient by 200 minerals for REYNOR, but pretty much even, right? REYNOR has lost 4 lurkers. None have gone down for Dark, of course, because Dark is only building his first lurkers at this point. We've got 3-1 upgrades for REYNOR and +3 on the way for Dark, who's already got his carapace up as well. So overall, it's been very efficient, and yeah, it's 2,000 atmospheres, so it's a big map. Lots of movement capabilities here. Army moves down this side. Mass, Spore, and Lurkers can defend that. Army moves down the left as well. REYNOR's going to go for some two-prong. Not happy to sit back and defend literally ever. And he finds some Hydras in the open. Hydra upgrades have not been finished yet for Dark, and we'll get the hatchery. Should hunt those drones down, but it looks like he's distracted a little bit. The mutas, of course, chasing him back as he has no mobile anti-air there. All Lurkers, Spores, and Spines building. Dark, remember what he said, guys, before this series. Buckle in for one of the slowest and most boring Zerg vs. Zergs you've ever watched. Is he going to stick to that mindset? Everything in this kind of late game of this final map does indicate that he was going to stick with it. Is REYNOR going to get over eager? He finds another hatch cancel. Dark, he's got to be a little bit more focused on getting some Lurkers out there and properly defending that base. There's not even any Vipers here for REYNOR. REYNOR finally going to be cleaning up these Mutalisks as they fly into the Spores and the Queens. And definitely slower pace of game. So REYNOR putting all of his willpower into buckling down and just, you know, basically waistbanding it. That clearly seems to be his strategy. He said, look, I saw how the other games went where I got overeager. I got a little bit horny and just tried to shove my army in there. Let's waistband it a little bit. Let's try and contain my constant urge to fight with my opponent, to clash with him, to wrestle out in the middle of the map. So he's managing to just contain it so far. The question is, does he... Look at that. Oh, I was talking about building static forward. He's going to do it. And if he spreads the creep forward, maybe he gets the Spores out here and just sieges this base. So already you can see... I mean, he's definitely not waistbanding this creep spread. You can see this one is protruding right out there. That's some very, very turgid creep tumors. And they're very close to thrusting into Dark's territory. So very good idea there to move that forward. He's got good Lurker Spore coverage on the other bases. Another base does go down there. I actually wish REYNOR just expanded here and here. But expanding to the bottom right is probably going to be near impossible to defend. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. Dark's going to come in with a Pervy Boy Overseer. There's already some Spines there ready to help clean up a Nidus Worm. Does he have one? Yes, he does. Spines ain't ready yet. Let's go to REYNOR's camera. REYNOR does glance at his main base. Does he realize? Does he realize? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. REYNOR has not realized. Uh-oh. Guys, REYNOR has not realized about the Nidus Worm. Oh, no. And he does decide to clear these Spine Crawlers up. It's only 2 Lurkers. Oh, there we go. Now realizing, oh, shit, I didn't think this Nidus Worm would get up. He loads more Lurkers in. Does burrow them up in this main base. Now, some nice abducts here for REYNOR. Does pick off a whole bunch of those Lurkers. Is he going to be able to push? Dark forgot to bring an Overseer! Oh no, the Overseer that went into spot for it died. Oh, Dark! This could have been so hard for REYNOR to break, and he forgot to bring an Overseer. You always got to bring some Overseers with your Lurkonitis. Otherwise, their Lurkers can just get in range. A massive mistake for Dark, and a missed opportunity for him. Units lost tab now massively in favor of REYNOR. He just cleared up 13 Lurkers. He didn't lose a single extra one, just trading out some Roaches for that. Roaches not really meant to be efficient units at this stage of the game, but a big mistake for Dark. Forgetting to bring an Overseer, he needed to immediately unburrow, get back in the Nidus, and get the heck out of dodge. So he hung around way too long there. +3 Carapace is now on the way for Dark. +2 about to finish for REYNOR. And honestly, dude, I don't know. That was a good indicator that Dark might be the one who's more impatient in this game. REYNOR's going to try and expand to both sides. He's got this little outpost further forward. 5 Vipers for REYNOR, 9 for Dark. Dark's the one with the heavier Viper count this time around. And I don't know who's going to be able to drag this out. Where do you attack? Where do you fight? Dark is just sitting there like a bloody sea cucumber. He's just sitting, he's like, And we're like, is it alive? And he's like, I'm just sitting here and waiting, you know? He's like a mussel. He's waiting for the water to just filter through so that he can get some nutrients out of it. REYNOR And he's kind of trying to do the same thing, but you know he can't contain himself. He's doing a split push. He's like, gotta fucking go, gotta fight, gotta fight. My name's REYNOR, I like to fight, dickheads. And you know what? I'm always worried that he's just going to try and shove into one of these positions and throw his army away again, because he did it so many times in those earlier matches. Viper's coming on forward. He's going to start to siege these Spore Crawlers back. Of course, the Overseer's trying to get vision so he can abduct those Lurkers out of the ground, but I love the way Dark just methodically pulls back, brings his Vipers over, and he should just abduct everything. Overseers, anything. I mean, Dark, I don't know why he's not abducting right now. I think he's worried about getting abducted himself. Oh, the Changelings. Look at this. REYNOR's spreading the Changelings, trying to make it hard. He gets one Changeling in. He's got some in the back there, so he sees where those Vipers are. He's thinking about abducting those Spores, just barely covering it. Does not want to run in and get his Vipers sniped. You see both sides playing a bit of a dancey dance there. A couple drones going down. Lurker harass in the top. Roaches and an Overseer will respond to it. And, oh, as the Overseer comes up, there we go. Let's take that one out. Down in the bottom right, both players in a bit of a standoff. No one's really trading. REYNOR, of course, does have a much bigger bank right now, especially in the gas, which is what really matters. Oh, Viper trades! Both sides losing a bunch of Vipers. I like that reactive blinding cloud from Dark. Does grab a Lurker there as well. Units lost tab, 7,000 in favor of REYNOR. But remember, a lot of that's off the previous fight, so we'll keep checking in on that. Only one more Lurker went down. 2 Vipers have died for Dark. Only 1 Viper died for REYNOR. So REYNOR's done a good job of not losing his Vipers so far. Double abduct to confirm the kill on that Lurker. Gotta watch out, though. Here we go. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, grab Overseers. Anything you can, mate. Anything you can. Grabs a Viper in. Roaches, Hydras. Those are really good trades for Dark towards the tail end. Lurker Spore moving forward. Like I said, guys, this turgid creep spread on the right side going to be very effective. Roaches run in, and oh my god, Roaches are so bad. Really needs to get rid of these Roaches at this stage of the game. They're just such a trash unit. 27, now 26 Lurkers for Dark. What the shit, dude? Dark just makes more Lurkers than you ever really even probably should. Whee! That Lurker does go flying. REYNOR, on the other hand, is always a bit light on the Lurkers. He's only on 11. So it's like pure Lurker Viper, now with some Hydras coming in as well for Dark, and he's trying to rely on the Spores. I'd love to see him grab these Spores and move them forward. Otherwise, if the Vipers come over here, REYNOR could push him back. Hatchery does get killed there. That Queen's going to go down, as does that Creep Tumor. You had a good life, buddy. Whee! Overseer does get abducted. Hydras, Roaches, Lurkers on the right side. We've got a lot of Vipers on the left side as well. 3 Vipers on the right, 9 on the left. This is still a big disaster right now for either side if they just get impatient. Whoa! Oh, he's launching! He's launching! Units lost tab closing up. You can see, remember, REYNOR was way ahead. Dark starting to get an edge in these trades. As the Vipers move up here, he gets some good edges. Ooh, Parasitic Bomb, but Dark with a quick spready. You can easily transfuse that. Transfuses and the Viper usage are really where the efficiency comes from in this scenario. You really should just grab the Overseers. They are still valuable targets. Anything is. Grabs the Lurker there, not able to confirm the kill until he gets the second abducted. Whoa! He shot puts it across the map. I've never seen a Lurker fly that far. Oh my god, it literally flew to the main base before it got to the surface of the ocean. That was sick. Nothing like killing a Lurker when it's in mid-air of being abducted, so it maintains the momentum. That is beautiful. Overseer does go down, as does this Lurker though as well. I know we're just kind of watching units float to the surface because it's 2,000 atmospheres, but guys, units lost tab 2 Vipers to 2, 23 to 9. So very similar in the Vipers and Lurkers lost after that first big trade where Dark threw away a ton of Lurkers, remember. Units lost 4,000 in favor. Now, this is a grind fest, guys. This is really about patience. It's about slow movement. You can see Dark is like, hey, I'm going to secure this base. I'm going to secure that base. Going to push you off this watchtower, and then I can maybe push forward and even deny this base before you finish mining it out. But REYNOR said, well, screw that. I'll start expanding to the bottom, and he needs to take all the gases and start mining from them ASAP. If he does not start mining from these gases soon, he's missing an opportunity. Now, keep in mind, the best StarCraft players literally do not understand the concept of mining out bases on the other player's side of the map. We've watched so many late game grind fests between the best players in the world, and at no point do they take a moment in the snooze fest of this standoff to go and transfer drones to those more exposed bases, and it costs them so many games. I'm joking. It's not that they don't know. They don't notice it. They're just not prioritizing it, guys, and it's a huge misstep. And it's obviously, for some of them, they don't get in games like this very often. It makes sense. But if you are playing as like you know, REYNOR here, you've got map control. You've got to put workers on gas. You've got to take these gases. He's starting to do it now. Hopefully he saturates those quickly and starts to mine them out, because notice Dark immediately saturates this. He's going to immediately saturate these gases. He knows he's fighting for resources. REYNOR has such a big bank. He's already mined out so much of his side of the map. But this is very wise. Dark is going to start doing Nidus Worms to the bottom. More Lurkers getting picked off. REYNOR's starting to do really good with his Vipers. And just abducting Hydras in return, nowhere near as valuable. But, oh, that's a good Viper abduct there. Very well done. You can see that Lurker count. 27 Lurkers have died for Dark. But Dark, he says, screw that, mate. I'm going to kill all your workers. That Lurker's going to run on up there. Maybe try and get in this base as well would be a good idea. The Lurker's running all over the shop. There's an Overseer following it. He's like leading them on a merry goose chase right now. And that Hydra will go down before it takes out the Overseer. This Lurker actually running straight on into the base. That's really cute. Gonna go in there and maybe kill a hatchery or two if they don't deal with that. REYNOR is now going to come forward with the Hydras in a bit of a spready. Unsupported Lurkers not going to trade so well. And there we go. 2 Roaches and a Queen will defeat that Lurker in the main base on the left side. More Lurkers getting abducted. REYNOR loses a Lurker there. Watch out for the abducts. Either side could really spiral this. Whoever gets the abducts into the Hydras or the Spores is going to be big. I'd like to see REYNOR build some more Spores. Right now, if we look at the Structures tab, you can see there are 48 Spores for Dark, only 20 for REYNOR on this map. Dark, though, is losing these Lurker trades. You can see it in the Units Lost tab. Back to a 6,000 resource advantage. He's down about 20 Lurkers, and he has lost 1 less Viper, so he's done good at keeping his Vipers alive, but I would say at this point it's worth being a little more dangerous. He's losing too many units. He's got to get forward and start abducting. There's only 1 Spore there. Honestly, run forward, initiate on these abducts. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. 2 Vipers. He kills 2 Vipers for losing a Lurker. A very good trade. Vipers are 200 gas, guys. So trading 150 gas for 400, well worth it. Lurker, of course, is a... Oh, shit. Big abducts coming down for Dark, but REYNOR answers, captures some of his Vipers with some great abducts, and that there, oh my god. The reason we're looking at Units Lost tab is it's very fast-paced and hard to keep track. We keep checking in on these numbers, and you can see 25 more Lurkers, or 25 more Lurkers have died for Dark, but REYNOR has lost 5 more Vipers, so continuing to trade better on the Viper front is Dark. The overall Units Lost tab not looking too great for him, though. Good shutdowns down here. REYNOR trying to reestablish all of these bases in the bottom right. Dark, though, check it out. He's finally saturated these gases. He's just done that now. There's been so much micro going on. It's very hard to do. And remember, you've got to get rid of the opponent's Overseer. That's giving him so much forward vision. When that eyeball pops out, you can see they've got an eyeball. It's covered in eyeballs. That's right, the Overseer designed to perv. It is a disgusting unit. It's designed to have a cheeky watch from the shadows. It's a voyeuristic freak. But it does have extra vision. Look at how far it fucking sees. Now, obviously, this is the Watchtower as well. So maybe REYNOR's a better example. This Overseer, that's very long sight range. Oh! Massive Dark Tradies. Great clutch Blinding Clouds on both sides to save some of their Vipers. But at the end of that trade, you can see, look at that, the Viper lost count is evening up there. REYNOR, if he can mine out the bottom right, he will probably be winning this game because he's going to get extra bases. That being said, it's all about this base here, which he has not really started mining yet. Spores and Lurkers going to move forward. REYNOR's got to pull back from there. Pops his eyeball back inside the 1 Overseer that does show just a little bit of shame. It's an absolute fucking grind fest. REYNOR has not snapped. He has not gotten excited and just shoved his units in. And I really feel like, guys, if you start losing trades, it can be very demotivating. There is a big psychological aspect to this warfare, where if they abduct your Vipers first, they abduct your Lurkers first a few times in a row, it starts to feel like a losing battle. And it takes a lot of just calm mental focus to get back in the right mindset from that situation. Now, so some good trades here, just sieging down. Oh, Dark grabs a whole bunch of Lurkers in. I do think he could be doing a better job of the follow-up on those trades, though. He's still down 3 Lurkers, lost 18 Lurkers and 3 Vipers, sorry, in the Units Lost tab. The Units Lost tab, 27 to 30,000. REYNOR still leading with a 6,000 bank, which is a pretty massive bank there in terms of the gas. Not to mention the 5,000 minerals he's got. I don't think your minerals is really worth that much. There's an argument behind making melee and adrenal gland upgrades just so you can use your Zerglings for run-bys later on, since Lurkers can't be everywhere at once. But, of course, if they ever run into a Lurker, Zerglings do just disappear. REYNOR still managing to siege the right side, and I really think what both players are missing here is sending a Viper. All you need to do is split 1 Viper off your control group, but both players are in such a tense moment, they're keeping all their Vipers on 1 control group, So it's a little bit of a noob habit, something that Snoot, back in the old Swarmhost stalemate days, was an expert at splitting up his spellcasters. You've got to do it. A single Viper down here could just abduct the other lurkers for free. There's no anti-air. Dark, getting pissed off, is going to send a 30 Hydralisk attack to the bottom right side of the map. That is insane. Guys, he's fed up. He's pissed. He's like, fuck it, let's just go. Let's get some movement going. I can defend with my Lurker Spore, and I'll be fine. But he's put all of his Lurkers in the top left. He's got to spread some down here. He can't be giving up this base entirely. He has, of course, been sieged from the low ground. He's lost the minerals. He's lost the gas. Great abducts on the Vipers. The Hydras try to push in, but the Lurkers are keeping them defended for now. The Hydra Lurker of Reynor is going to run over. The armies run into each other. Reynor. Oh, no. The Dark. Dark. I think that was a misclick. I think he thought he would have moved through the southern path. Then they moved through the bridge, trapped up against the rocks, and he throws away his lurkers, mate. He throws away so many Hydras. I mean, 34 Hydras have died. He'd lost only a handful up to that point. That was a massive mistake for a player who does not have the gas bank to spare. That was absolutely terrible for Dark. A moment of getting a bit pissed off, wanting to create some movement. We said Dark was going to be patient. He was coming into this series with the right mindset. Reynor was the one who's going to be overeager, but Reynor here, an expert of waistbanding it, containing himself in a situation where he wants to do nothing but charge headlong into battle. He manages to contain it, and it's Dark who breaks first and makes an ill-advised move across the map with all of his Hydras and just chucks him away. A big mistake for him. Still, of course, has been able to remax, and it's still about the efficiency, but I love the way Reynor is trying to siege this base. He's denied that last 900 gas, I think it is, 500 gas, sorry, on that rich gas geyser. He's just trying to siege him down. Lurkers do take out some of the Hydralisks there, though, as well. He's got the gases mining down here. This is putting a lot of pressure on Dark. He's got to split a single Viper, like I said, guys. All you need is a single Viper, rock up, Blinding Cloud, jump on top, or abduct and kill it. This is a big thing that people start to tunnel vision in, even the best players in the world. It's so tense doing this Viper micro battle, trying to be the first one to initiate on these Viper abducts. Only 5 Vipers for Reynor right now versus the 10 for Dark, but somehow he's the one who's getting the first spells off, and I think it does come down partially at least to the fact that his Roach has the Watchtower. This is Reynor's vision. Now go to Dark's vision. Dark only sees to there. Once again, Reynor sees everything. Dark, you've got to push him off this Watchtower. You've got to kill these units and start abducting. But Dark, it feels like he's getting psychologically pushed into a corner, and I think the big tell of that is the way he used those Hydras in such a cavalier fashion. And now he's once again... He said, fuck this. I said, you know, if you're losing those trades, it gets very demotivating. It looks like he's just given up on fighting. He said, fuck it, I'm going to go around, mate. Let's trade. He tried to leave a few Lurkers and Spores, but basically only like 5 Lurkers, and already a few of them get abducted. Reynor's like, wait, what? You've got no units here. He's going to start to break through the Spores. And Dark comes down, Blinding Clouds those Lurkers, takes him out. He's going to be able to take out these 3 bases. This is no doubt a fantastic win for him. The question is, what price... Excuse me, burping. What price does he pay for it? In the bottom right side, yes, he's going to kill 3 bases and some drones, but he's going to lose these top 2 bases, which is his last bit of income, and Reynor's already mined out the map. Trading bases right now is not what you need to do. You need to grind him down with efficiency. You need to take out your sandpaper and slowly start sandpapering your opponent down. But Dark here instead says, fuck it, let's go trade bases. And that massively advantages and favors Reynor. Because Reynor, remember, had more of the map for longer. He's got a 22,000 bank. The units lost tab was looking all right, but look, now it's getting more and more in Reynor's favor even because he's killing so many Spore Crawlers and Spines, which is obviously adding to that. They're both losing all of their income right now. No gas income left, only 100 gas left for Reynor to mine on his side of the map. Dark's going to try and take the bottom left. He's out of gas mining. The slight difference is the fact that Reynor can rebuild 43 Vipers right now. Dark can't rebuild a single one. He's remaxing on Hydras right now. I don't know if that's the right call. I feel like more Lurkers and Vipers. Yes, he's got the advantage in those numbers, but he's got to be able to rebuild. Hydra's moving forward. Reynor's going to take out this base just to clear up a bit of map control, bit of map vision as well. And Dark going to take 1, 2, probably take a 3rd hatchery down there. Reynor says, okay, I guess I take this base. 500 gas left there. The top left base still has 2,500 gas between those geysers. Bottom right side does have a fair bit of gas on it as well. Rich gas is completely mined out. 3 Lurkers looking for an attack. Nice abduct. Gets 1. Can he get 2 and 3? Those Lurkers very quick to run away. For those who don't know, the Lurker is a siege tank on steroids, stim packs, and a whole bunch of other things all at once. TRT siege tanks, essentially. That's what the Lurker is. It's a TRT siege tank. They are just... They outrun Zerglings. They're tankier than everything else in the game. They are such a Chad unit. And there are more of them for Dark, but he's been failing to utilize that higher Lurker and Viper count effectively. He's down 8,000 resources in the units lost, and that tells us that REYNOR is his skill that allowed him to win the World Championship last year. For those who don't know, he faced off against Dark in the quarterfinals last year as well, the year before. And it was a fucking nail-biter, but it did not go to late game. It was an early mid-game nail-biter. It was just crazy attacks and mutas fighting hydras and skirmishes the whole time. And REYNOR barely came out on top in that one, but REYNOR ended up winning his other matches against Zest, against Maru by completely changing the style. He did Queen Walk all-in attacks versus Zest, which is not really his favorite style to do. He did super sick Mutiling Bane and also Broodlord play against Maru when he liked to only play Lurker Hydra Bane. And it's because players did these very divisive styles that forced REYNOR to play a very different way, and he changed it up. Under pressure, he did styles that he had not really practiced much at all because it was the right thing to do in that situation, and that's REYNOR's superpower, and it's what he's done here in Game 5. He's knuckled down, he's played patiently, he's managed to waistband his over-eager excitement, put it back in its pants, and managed to just slowly eke this out through the efficiency, through the positioning, and at no point has REYNOR gone, let's fucking charge and run in, whereas Dark has now done that twice. The first time with the Hydras, the second time by abandoning the top left and taking the bottom right. And was that a good trade? Well, there's a lot more gas here and here than there is here and here. So you could argue, yes, it is. REYNOR has not started mining those gases, a bit of a mistake for him. But you've got to argue, he's on 10 drones. He's mined so much, he wants to just have maximum army. Ooh, does lose a few Hydras. Abducts. Oh, gets an Overseer. Oh, abduct tradies. Lurkers get abducted, as do some Vipers. Units go flying. And this here is still a little bit of a standoff on this side. It was 8,000 resources before. It remains 8,000 exactly on the units lost tab. REYNOR looking for an angle, unable to find it so far. That is a beautiful arc of Lurker fire that you do not want to step into, but the abducts are just going to yank those units out one at a time, spiraling up into the surface of the ocean here. REYNOR does need to rebuild those gases, get that gas mining just to ensure he denies it in case this game drags on. Dark is back in a very nice gas income though, 700 gas a minute. And he's got thousands more coming in. And so you know what? Trading the bases, it actually is a good call for Dark. As long as he slows things down now, he gets more gas by giving up the top left. Because what is it? 2,500 gas plus the 500, which REYNOR's already mined out. Nice little Lurker who has to be annoying. So that was 3,000 gas, and he got, what was it, 2,500 plus 4,000, 6,500. So that's, yeah, he nets about 2,500 gas from this. It still is not going to close that massive difference in the gas, and you've got to point out, we see units lost. Does that tell us who's been more efficient on the gas? Because that's actually more important here. Nice abducts for REYNOR there. Let's look at the units lost on the gas. REYNOR has been 4,000 resources more efficient in the gas units killed. That is very big, and that's the number we probably should be looking at more and more as the gas bank is so low for Dark. Ooh, great clutch Blinding Cloud, and the abduct follow-up, so it goes down anyway. All your effort for nothing. I do think Dark needs to be a little more active with his abducts. What he's worried about is running forward and REYNOR catching his Vipers as he goes to abduct Lurkers. So, oh, great abducts again for REYNOR, but he does step in range of those. Still got roaches in his army for some very strange reason, who knows. Oh, he's abducting the Lurkers on the flank. Dark's gonna try and shove it. Dark's trying to shove it again, but a great tactical withdrawal from REYNOR, and oh, the Hydras moving in. Dark is getting over eager here, guys. REYNOR has been waistbanding it, but Dark is literally about to explode out. His bloody pants are about to burst open. He just can't control himself. He's trying to break through, but notice the way REYNOR pulls back, he abducts, he pulls back. At no point is he just diving into the Lurkers. And let's check it. Units lost tab getting closer to 10,000, 12,000. These trades are getting worse and worse. Dark needs to be picking off the Overseers for the vision, but he also needs to be just abducting more patiently. Right now, he's standing on the edge of REYNOR's territory. His Vipers have gone back to suck energy. He's only got 2 of them left. REYNOR is manhandling him. He is showing the better Viper control, and this is not something that he showed earlier. Honestly, I don't think this is something where REYNOR is just the better Viper player. I think what's happened is REYNOR's actually out-patience the guy who came into the series saying, buckle in for the most boring and slow series ever. REYNOR's actually been so patient, so methodical, and stronger mentally. Because you can see that Dark keeps going, oh, my plan's not working. Shit, I've got to change it. My plan's not working. Shit. And look, here we go. Round 17 of, oh no, my plan's not working. Oh shit, I got to change it. He doesn't know how to beat REYNOR in the efficiency war, so he's trying to force the issue. Vipers fly into Spore Crawlers. He's only got 2 Vipers and he throws them away. Where are the Vipers of REYNOR though? REYNOR, where are your 14 Vipers? REYNOR with a massive fuck up. His Vipers are in the main gathering energy right now. He needs to get these Vipers down here. REYNOR, the start of this fight has been very messy. Finally, the Blinding Clouds come in. He's got Lurkers on the right. He's got Mass Lurker morphing in the main. This was a huge mistake for REYNOR, but you notice he's got the bank and he's instantly remaxing. So even though the start of that fight looked promising for Dark, Dark does not have Viper support. And yes, he's killing some hatcheries, but what's it really matter? REYNOR has the bank, his Lurkers on the right side, get some great volleys off before they go down. And now it's yoink time. Yoink craft. REYNOR says, I have enough of ducks for every single unit in your army. Come get some, dickhead. Dark, he's on his last legs. A squad of Hydras and Lurkers, no Viper support. REYNOR, he says, okay, I've been slow and efficient all game. And now I'm going to continue that. No, actually, you know what? You've got nothing. Let's hunt you down, chase you down. And at the end of a crazy 37-minute game with more cost efficiency and especially massive gas cost efficiency and better map control, REYNOR shows, yes, he's good in the early game and the mid game, but he is also so frigging incredible at slowing down and playing a style he doesn't want to play, and that's what it takes to be a world champion. You need to be able to come out and change your style completely, adapt to your opponents, be like water, and flow around resistance. That's exactly what REYNOR did in this series after a upsetting game 1 and game 2 and game 3. What a fantastic victory, guys. GG. REYNOR wins the quarterfinal match and goes to the semis. GG.